Morning, good evening, and good night whenever you're watching this transmission. Guys, welcome. Good morning, good evening, good night. Wherever you're watching this transmission, it is I, Mike Martins, bringing you we're doing an early pre-show for trends in the housing market with the amount of housing discussion that's out there with people. Just what's happening is just absolutely beyond phenomenal. The housing market was just ready to go uptick in the northern hemisphere, ready to kick off a beautiful spring, lots of foreign money coming in, and then boom, attack of the COVID. And COVID has come in and actually has taken out a lot of the housing market. It's taken out jobs. Luckily, in Canada and Australia and New Zealand and the UK, jobs are not tied to wages like they used to be. Oh, yeah. Jobs are no longer tied to wages. And you're like, what are you saying, Mike? What are you talking about? No, because the average wage earner can't even afford to live in their own damn city unless their parents left them a damn house. So we got people rolling into the comics. We got Craig Cook asking, is this live? Yes, it's a pre-show. It's live. Lord Humongous. Woohoo! Damn slackers here. Thank you for coming. Solid Extra. And Lex 500. Hey, Mike, I'm on lockdown here in Northern California. So we're going to get maybe Lex to call into the show to give us an idea on what the heck is going on with this rent or mortgage situation or what the heck is going on. Jay Smith in the house. Guys, if you want to join the show, add me on Skype. Mike Martins 1980. Mikemartins. Almost like Mickey Mouse. 1980. Larry White in the house. Two-time world champ here. Lord Humongous is saying that they are doing a lockdown here. Solid Extra in the comments. Are there any theories that maybe several viruses are being spread at the same time, thus causing the differences in fatalities and symptoms? No, it's the same thing that's happening, and we're going to be doing a big lockdown on Saturday for Mike in the Night. So if you guys are on lockdown, who wants an early Mike in the Night, and who wants like a 7-hour Mike in the Night? Let me know if you guys want to do that. I could start on Saturday. I could start at 7 and maybe 6. That's 9 p.m. Eastern time, 9 p.m. Miami time. And we could go for a couple of hours. I'll get a couple other people to fill in for me through the show. We got Adam in the house from Ontario. Yeah, baby.
Yes. And yes.
And that's our soundboard for today. It's good old Donald J. Trump. So what's happening in the housing? Guys, there's so much happening. I've been covering, guys, okay, let's do a channel plug real quick. This is a pre-show anyway. Here it is, guys. Don't forget to join the channel right here. If you want to donate $1 or $2 a month, go ahead. These are the videos here. If you want, there's thousands. I got over 4,000 videos. Go ahead and let's look at our latest housing videos that we did. This one's important. $2,000 benefit to help Canadians. There's a picture there with Alf on it. Here it is. Housing market shows signs of breaking with David Hasselhoff on it. Then we have COVID housing predictions. This one is really important. This one actually breaks down what will happen if markets do find the bottom or hit the bottom or hit rock bottom. And COVID and real estate market, so lots of stuff. It's another rate cut right here with Skeletor on it. And Australian housing story, the end. Really good information there if you guys want to follow. Guys, don't forget to support me on Patreon. I'm on Patreon. All links are on top here on the top right. I got another Patreon supporter the other day. You could send me a tip on PayPal, and you could you could message me here on Facebook. I'm going to give you guys my Facebook information. So here it is, guys. If you want to send me something on Facebook, go ahead and send it there. And now I have 64 messages today. I didn't even look at it. I was so busy. And I'm going to give you guys my Instagram. Instagram is a lot easier, but I'm on Instagram too if you guys want to follow me there too. My store is closed, so people can't come and visit me in person. I'm one of the very few YouTubers where you could actually go and reach. Like just right there, I'm there. Like, you could reach me at my store, but unfortunately, the store is closed temporarily. Bob Often is saying, for us, we need to get it the day before. Please don't forget the time difference. Yeah, Bob, where are you? In Australia? because it'll just be Sunday afternoon for you guys. So you got in Australia and New Zealand, you guys need not worry. You guys could pick up in the UK around midnight. I think around midnight if I start at 6. Yeah, Prince Charles has COVID. Yep.
We really do have to get going. And the answer is... You're fired. You're fired.
So we got the Donald Trump soundboard today to kind of lighten things up with the COVID shutdown. Okay, so we got here, what do we have here? Donald J. Trump, we got the soundboard, we got the comments going up. All right, let's kick a little bit of housing jargon up real quick and see what's happening. And it is not...
You're not a nice person.
It's not a nice thing, actually. Let's start over with our friends in A Better Dwelling. Canadian jobless claims smash previous records. Unemployment rates like in double digits. No, we got to take a look at this one. This is a big one. Canada's economy was sputtering before COVID-19, but last week's job losses are unprecedented. The federal government now estimates 960,000 jobless claims were made just last week. 960,000. 960,000.
You're fired. You're fired.
We just made last week the number of claims for the week is higher than any monthly tally in Canadian history. The tally bump around 5% of the workforce, making the unemployment rates the highest in decades. Canadians made over 960,000 jobless claims last week. The number of jobless... Oh my God, let's look at the graph right here. The graph says it all. Wow, it won't let me open this graph, but it goes here. You see that black line? Yeah, let me zoom it in for you guys. Oh, it's going behind there. Okay, you guys see that black line? That's not the border of the graph. That's the graph. So it goes here, 60. This is like, here, we go back to 95, 78,000 claims. 2005, 62,000 claims. We keep going. 79,000 claims. We keep going. And then, boom! This last bar on the graph. I'm trying to get it. It's part of the graph. I'm trying to get it to read. It's almost 1 million. It's right here. The line. Oh, here it is. I got to go to the top of the graph to read it. 960,000. Holy smokes. Yeah, and you thought this was the corner of the graph here, eh? Unemployment most likely in double digits. The size of these layoffs is most likely to push unemployment levels to a multi-year high. The last reported unemployment rate was 5.58% in February. Now, here it is here. Holy Canadian rate of unemployment. So we're going back to 1981. If you guys remember 81, then this should be no surprise. These numbers should not be a surprise to you, but here it is there. Last time we had this was 81. What a big deal that was in 81. And then we're forecast at 10.3%. The impact of the COVID-19 outbreak compounds issues that the end of Canada's business cycle. Jobless claims were already rising with 385,000. But and going back to this, we've been prophesizing and talking about on this channel for ages. We've had a ton of guests on telling us about the unemployment levels, where unemployment is headed, and where unemployment is basically...
I'm really rich.
Getting people in a lot of troubles the last couple of 7-8 months. We've been looking at the unemployment numbers, and they haven't been looking good. And I like it how the Canadian government, just before the election, creates like 200,000 government jobs, public sector jobs. So look at all these jobs we're creating right before the election. Look at all these phenomenal jobs. Canadian seniors are back to accelerating reverse mortgage growth. Remember, 3.5 months ago, November, Canadian seniors have stopped and tapered off with reverse mortgage growth. Yep.
You're fired.
All right, let's get to some comments before we kick off this one. Craig Cook says, we got plenty of food. All right. Mark 35 Moses saying hi. Lord Humongous says they got a large U.S. and Navy medical ship in the port of Los Angeles. Craig Cook says we got 80% of our wage too, which is good. Canada, they're just like kind of ruffling around with trying to get this fixed here. We are all isolated in our homes unless we are food shopping. Solid Extra says infection and death rates are starting to stabilize, trending down in Italy. Might not be most accurate, but it's a good sign. And Craig Cook says, same here, Ben. Gas stations, pharmacy, supermarkets only. Ben North, guys. According to my thing, we've been counting down from the 12th week when this was going to blow up in the West here in North America, right? We are now, and I've been counting this on shows and stuff, we are 1 week, 5 days away now from it really blowing up here in North America. So keep an eye on that, guys. You're going to be like, oh my God, Mike Martins, what the hell? Yep. Someone saying COVID will go on for years. That's true. That's very true. We got Steven Sewell saying, workplace called me at home to see if I'm infected with COVID. Craig Cook, oh no, we're not allowed to hoard. Also limit of 100 in supermarkets, so line up to get in. Yeah. I know why so much all you would really need is some food. And then Ben North saying, hard to keep with the kids from getting bored because from today to no school. Yeah, there was no school too. We got Terry Tony in the house. We got Craig Cook saying 287 cases, I think, here now. Guys, we are 1 week and 5 days away from the big West basically becoming like Italy. So we're going to see what's going to happen. Ben North is letting us know that it's starting to really accelerate in Australia. And with the Australian Prime Minister shutting down all the jobs, bars, restaurants, stores, but letting the kids go to school in Australia.
You're fired. You're fired.
Are you out of your tree?
You're not a nice person.
So he lets everything close. He mandatorily shuts everything down, sends everybody home, but the kids could go to school because they don't want them to miss a school year.
You're not a nice person.
So Canadian seniors are back to accelerating reverse mortgage debt growth. This is a big deal. It was a slow holiday, but Canadian seniors are back to topping their home values for cash. Office of the Superintendent of Financial Institutions. Filings show reverse mortgages debt reached a new high in January. The new high came with a sharp acceleration in growth, but the rates is in line with historic numbers. So here it is. Canadian reverse mortgage debt sitting at this is in billions. So this is like $4 billion bucks. So that's like 4 billion. 4 billion and 20. Let me see if I'm right here. Yeah, 4 billion bucks. And Canadian mortgage debt rate change is the annual percentage. So there it is. Now it's ticking up again. They stopped using it late last year. Remember late last year? They stopped using their reverse mortgages. We discussed this on the show. We talked about this. Hey, it's going down. It looks like they're not tapping into their homes again. And now it's going back up. So people need to eat, and it goes to show where they're eating from. They're not taking vacations. I can tell you that right now. They're not buying cars. They're not shopping. So where's the money? To eat, because they can't afford to eat. So what do they need to do? They need to borrow from their homes. Now, Canadian HELOC borrowing was grinding to a halt before COVID-19. Again, HELOCs, second mortgages. So this is not just seniors. This is everybody. This is people using their homes as ATM machines. You're supposed to use that for your retirement, people. Layaway retirement. Ben North says he's still waiting. Still saving, as Mike knows. Still waiting on money from the government stimulus. Craig Cook says, I'm actually still saving, as Mike knows. Got no debt. Sitting pretty. That's from Craig Cook. And then we got Mike Martian saying, people fear the truth. Daniel O'Brien says, the word is breaking out on the cure. Well, we'll see. They keep saying they're 6 months to a year away. I hear 8 months to a year. I hear 8 months to 16 months. I hear all kinds of jargon all over the wire. Okay, here we go. Canadian dollars and billions. So again, total loans secured with residential estate. Canadians secured over $303 billion in debt with residential real estate. Again, they're using real estate to eat. They're not taking vacations. I could bet you 100 to 1. Not a single person took a vacation that's borrowing this money in this first quarter. They're not going nowhere. Well, they can go back to Wuhan soon because it's going to be China's cured. So, and what else? We got business loans again. More business loans secured on mortgages, on real estate. COVID-19 is here. Yeah, Lord Humongous saying we're getting food riots. So let's move on. BC bans majority of evictions during COVID-19 pandemic. So it looks like the people in, I guess, in Vancouver, looks like it's the city of Vancouver. Premier also announces up to $500 in relief for renters struggling to make rent. $500. $500. That doesn't even, the average rent in Vancouver is like $2,200. Woo! See what happens when wages don't equal housing? You see what happens when wages are not on par with housing? Average wages. We're not talking about minimum wage. Average wages are here, and the cost of housing is here. So, yeah.
You're fired.
Oh, yeah.
Then there's something wrong with you. You're certainly not very good.
I love the Donald Trump soundboard. Okay, Ed Hutch is saying, I'm coughing for weeks now, but no temperature. It's probably just, you know what? Just get a bunch of lemon. I'm serious. And some warm water every morning. I'll just try alkalinizing your blood every morning. I have warm lemon water all day long, and it's great. Chris Stallone says Mikey, and then we got Daniel O'Brien in the house. I was going to Oregon a lot this year. Uneducated economist says they have shut it down. Yep, the town's pretty much shut down. Jay Smith has said Greta has COVID. I don't know, man. That would be like front and center all over the world. So, majority of evictions. So, people are getting $500 for relief for renters struggling to make rent. They're just going to take that money and buy food. They're not going to give it to their landlords. I can guarantee. If you're getting evicted, they're going to take that those 5 bills, and they're going to take that and they're going to buy food.
You're fired.
BC is suspending evictions and freezing rent increases in an effort to help tenants make ends meet with their homes for a duration of the provincial COVID-19 emergency. Premier John Horgan said current and upcoming evictions in the province are on hold now, with a few exceptions until the crisis has passed. So they're saying they're looking at mid to late October for this thing to get back on board.
You're fired.
So that's that. The premier acknowledged that $500 will not go far. $500. You can't even go grocery shopping for a family of 3 with $500 in Canada. $500. It's like, let's say you got them all in $5 bills. Someone gave you $500 in Canadian $5 bills. It would be this big. You look at it and say, holy crap, this is so much money. You go grocery shopping, it's all gone. It's like in Mexico. You get like this much money, a brick of money. You're like walking around like the king. And then you're like 2 hours later, it's like you have no more money because everything's so expensive. Someone saying the video is freezing. Just refresh it, guys. If you see a freezing video, just go ahead and refresh it, guys.
You're fired.
All right, let's move on. Yeah, Mike Martians knows. He's saying right now, $500 in Vancouver gets you a couple of boxes of cereal.
I love my life. I have a wonderful family.
All right, federal government repackages El Soporto benefit for workers affected by novel corona. So this is basically written by our Mexican counterpart, Senor Colvero. The federal government is streamlining the process for workers. So I already read this today. All the unemployment, how many billions they're going to be paying out per month. We already went over this, but you could find it on my channel. All right, before we jump into Seattle housing market, we're gonna see. It's kind of early because a lot of people don't come on the show till 7 o'clock. So,
You're not a nice person.
So, Steven Sewell saying video fine here in Toronto. Mike Banks in the house. Yo, Mike Banks, do you want to call? I want to get some fresh voices on the show. Mike Banks, do you want to call into the show, buddy? Steven, you want to call into the show, buddy? I'm going to call 26 Gunter. See what's going on in his neck of the woods. And what's going on with work. If everybody's at home from work. Mortgage market is collapsing live in New York. Yeah, it is. Yeah, we're going to get over to America. We're going to get over to the United States of America in a second with our... we're going to start over in Seattle. So you guys know what happened in Seattle if you've been following the show for a long time. And it's not good. It is not good in Seattle because the housing market went from normal wages, people buying and selling, normal markets. Average house was going for $390, $395. Boom. 2016 hits. Mid-2016, Vancouver implements the foreign buyer's tax on housing in Vancouver. Boom. Boom, boom. Everybody from Vancouver went down to Seattle and bought up housing. There was one guy who lives in Shanghai that owns 103 homes in the Seattle area, in the prominent areas, 103, and he's never been to America or Canada. Yep. All right, so Mike Banks, he's got his mic set up. Thank God. Yeah. So we got Spiffy BB watching us from Coquitlam. Les is saying it's about debt-based system imploding. The COVID virus is just a trick. Yeah. So it's almost midnight where Mark 345 Moses is. No, it's not. It's 2140. I'm sorry. All right. I got a lot of people tuning in, of course, from Australia because the housing market down there is an absolute joke. And let's see if I can get if Mike Banks have messaged me. I like to. I want to see what he has to say, Mike Banks. Mike Banks has been commenting for forever on the channel. Like I'm talking for the last 6 months, steady Freddy. Commenting, and I like to hear his voice. I've never spoken to him before, so it's nice to have him on the show. And we got someone says, "Is your YouTube account frozen?" No, my YouTube account is fine. It's an email. Someone's discussing. They're asking this. If you're seeing my thing frozen, just refresh it. It's fine. YouTube's been acting weird since the shutdown. So guys, here you go, guys. People roll into the show. Join the channel right here. You could support me on Patreon if you don't like YouTube. And Patreon's good. A lot of people have been joining. You could send me a tip on PayPal. And you could add me on... follow me on Facebook. And then you could also follow me here on my Instagram. There's nothing really on Instagram. It's just pictures. So there it is, guys. So that's there right there. And let's see who we got. We got in the sidelines here. Who we got in the sidelines here on the side? Someone's asking me, why am I avoiding this stuff? Someone's asking me, why are you avoiding this stuff, bro? That's from Brian there. I'm not sure what he means. I don't check my Skype all the time, guys. I only check my Skype when I'm usually here on the show with you guys. Gary Maderos in the house. We got Ben North saying, I love this show.
I'm really rich.
And eBankU, did you see the work I did on my last place, Mike? No. We'll have you. You know what? We'll check it out. We'll do a walkthrough if you want on the show, or we could do something together. We could collaborate something cool. You know what I'm saying? No, but I haven't. I'm off to work on the next place today. Good for you, man. eBankU is a businessman and very, very strong personality, very good person. He left. He's a Canadian, lived in Vancouver, and this is like a decade and a half ago. He got fed up and just moved to Japan. He just moved to Japan. He opened business there. He has got lots of business going there, and yeah. So somebody's asking me, what's the topic tonight? Any update on Toronto real estate market? Yeah, we covered it earlier in the show. Toronto real estate is here. We already covered the reverse mortgages, and yeah, we could do a quick Toronto. Let's go here, Toronto housing. Let's see what the biggest story here is in Toronto housing before we jump into the United States. U.S. is looking like it's... Okay, grapple. Here we go. It's the same story all over the Commonwealth we're having. Same story. And it all happens the same in the Commonwealth. Why? Because wages are not in line with housing. If wages were in line with housing, people lose their jobs, housing market crashes, we reset, Merry Christmas. But this is different. Because wages are not in line with housing, somebody else is buying our housing, a pile of money comes from offshore, parks in our houses, the locals lose their jobs. Okay, so what? But the people that now own all these properties are sitting there and wondering, I can't sell my properties now because none of the locals are working. Crystalone saying USA, Canada, Mexico will have a new currency. Yeah, that's the Amero, guys. We've been talking about the Amero here. We talked about the Amero about 5 years on the channel. Hope you are well, buddy. Mikey, can you interview school students who have been affected to see their take on it, please, mate? Yeah, okay, I'll find some school students who are affected with the COVID. We'll do that on Mike in the Night and catch some students in Australia who are... Oh, no, Australians, the kids are still going to school. And Australia shut everything down. And everybody... went home, all the pubs, the restaurants, this, that. They shut everything down in Australia, but the kids are allowed to go to school. And no school closures in Australia. We got Matsky saying India's on lockdown. Owen saying, Mike, you started early. Yeah, man, early show tonight. We had a pre-show today, guys. This is a pre-show. Bring your dog. Yeah, you know what? I'll bring my girl Florida sometime on the show. My dog Florida. Okay, buyers and sellers and agents grapple with the housing market shaped by COVID.
I built a net worth of more than $10 billion. I have a great, great company. I employ thousands of people.
All right, that's Donald Trump in our soundboard tonight. A Toronto area real estate market that started the year by revisiting the market of euphoria of 2016 abruptly feels like it's reliving the financial market meltdown of 2008. Reliving. Or it's relieving itself is what it's doing. It's so overly blown up. It's horrendous. When people say, you got to save 23 years to put a down payment on a house, and that house looks nothing like your parents' house. It's this house you're buying is going to need 200 to 500 grand in repairs. Yeah, we're living in a bad time. A couple of weeks ago, it felt like 2016. Now it feels like right after the crash. Oh, yeah. So here it is. Other people who are not in bind are the tenants who have given their notice on their rental property with the expectation they would be moving into a newly finished condo unit with many government services shut down. Inspectors are not giving out occupancy permits for new construction. So that's another problem there. And it's the same pattern we're having. And same person's asking for Toronto property tax. Oh, I love those stories. Oh, property taxes is awesome. Oh, the stories. 60-day grace period. This came out 2 days ago. So people in Toronto announced a 60-day grace period for property tax, utility bills due to COVID outbreak. You're not going to get them for free, guys, but you're still going to get a property tax. You're going to get a 60-day grace period. So if you're living in Toronto, you got 60 days extra. So in Toronto, the average property tax is about I think it's like $4,100 in the city of Toronto. It goes up to about $10,000 a year in property tax. I know.
You're not a nice person.
All right, let's movie on here. So we're gonna hit the United States here, guys. It's time we hit the United States. Mike Banks, are you gonna come on and talk to us, buddy, or what? Are you scared? Guys? Do you think Mike Banks is scared? I'm gonna call Gary Maderos. I just like to bother this guy at random times of the week. Oh, I forgot. I closed my audio, so every time I go into this stupid Skype, I actually have to go into settings, and I have to go to video audio. Okay. And then I have to go into my speakers. Yeah, I have to do this every time now. I have to adjust my speakers every time I go in, which is very, very disgusting. Let's get Gary. Hello?
Hey, Mike.
Gary, how are you, my brother?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I got your message earlier today, 2 hours ago, and I said, you know what? Maybe I'll do a little pre-show. So I had about 70 people watching on the pre-show before we started at. Heck, it's still pre-show. It's not even 7 o'clock.
Well, there you go, man. Shows how much people are tuning in.
Woo! Okay, buddy, you're on, man. Okay, now we've been talking every week, but we haven't talked about COVID. We haven't discussed COVID in the mix because we just haven't.
I honestly, I don't know what to say about this thing, man. As far as COVID goes, I don't know what to say. I mean, it sucks, to be honest with you.
Right.
I mean, it's a scary situation, obviously.
Yeah, but do you see the problem with? Are you seeing the problem with open homes are no longer open to the public?
Well, we have that now in Ontario, where open houses should not even be happening right now because of what's going on, right? So,
are they shut down? Do you know?
As far as I've known, yeah, I've even read it that open houses are no longer being done in the real estate in Ontario.
Okay, so that's actually coming through. And what about where do you see housing? Like honestly, in your opinion now, okay, we've been discussing this for a long time, and the problem is, Gary, we know that average wage earners are not adjusted to housing.
Absolutely.
What an average wage earner makes can never get them into any piece of property in the major cities of Canada. Now, the question is, are we going to start to see this correction? Are we going to start to see this come down? Because usually average wage earners lose the jobs, right? Then average wage earners can't pay the mortgage, and then housing crashes. But because average wage earners don't own any of the houses, it doesn't really matter. It's all foreign and it's all foreign and parked money in Canada. Do you see a tipping point, or do you see the foreign owners saying, well, I'll just sit on my house empty. I don't care.
I mean, I guess the foreign owners, that can happen. I mean, that's a possibility, I guess. I'm seeing a lot of listings coming up on the market. I can tell you that much. Like a lot of things.
Okay, and I know you've been watching the market like a hawk. Are you noticing the price moving down, or is it just kind of plateau?
They're pricing them higher.
Woo!
I think they're trying to keep up their money because, at the end of the day, there is foreign ownership, and we're not going to deny that. But there also is, people like us that own homes too, and unfortunately, this virus has caused some serious blow to a lot of people, and almost 1 million people have already applied for EI, so that should give you a heads up on that already.
Yeah. That was the first story we read.
EI is not enough to pay off mortgages. I can tell you that right now, because EI is hardly anything, really.
Well, yes, because again, it goes back to square one. Wages, average wage earners from $45,000 to $65,000 a year don't make enough to get into any of the property markets, any condos, detached homes. They can't get into anything. So now,
absolutely.
But do you see the foreign ownership saying, who cares? I'll just leave my stuff empty? Or do you start seeing, because the foreign ownership, they can't sell back to us because we don't have $2 million to buy a condo, right?
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, they could hang on to the property. I mean, it's a possibility. It's hard to say on that one. I mean, I think some of them will sell. they're just going to sell for like $2 million. They want to make that money back, but I think it's safe to say that nobody in the economy right now can really buy anything for that kind of money.
Exactly. So then you're going to see a huge, stagnant, unmovable. See, because if this was local Canadians that owned all these properties, a lot of them will give in and start selling underpriced because they need the money because they're in Canada and they're going to lose their everything. But because it's foreign money parked in here, tons of it too, it's we had $200 billion laundered through Canadian real estate from 2011 to 2015. $200 billion. That buys you a lot of real estate, Gary.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Like I said, I mean, foreign ownership, I mean, it's hard to say what's going to happen there. I mean, they may hold on to it because, I don't think they'll get the money that they want for it. Listings I'm seeing, certain places like for Bolton for one. All the detaches are coming up on the market right now, going over for $1 million, or go all over $1 million bucks, and that's all
Bolton
coming up
Bolton.
now. Mark Bolton is,
are you mean Bolton by like north of Brampton? Bolton?
I guess it's not north of Brampton. I'd say it's north of Woodbridge.
Wow, houses are going for $1 million in that area.
I go figure. And there's nothing up there, man. Absolutely nothing. Like there's no malls, no nothing. And people are paying over $1 million. I'd rather pay over $1 million and stay in Woodbridge, where actually there's things you can go to, like Vaughan Mills and stuff like that, and like markets and stuff like that, compared to Bolton. Bolton doesn't have a lot up there. I mean, they got a Walmart, a mini mall kind of thing. I think they got Garden Foods too. Little shops like that, but nothing major. Everyone has to come back like to Woodbridge if they want to go to a mall or something. Like it's pretty interesting how I wouldn't pay $1 million to live up in an area like that personally. I mean, if I'm going to pay $1 million, I want everything around me.
Well, guys. So guys living in the United States, watching this, okay, nobody freak out because I had a few comments on some older videos with people from South Carolina and Florida and Georgia commenting on the videos. It's like, oh, your guests are really greedy. They want $1 million home. So guys living in the southern United States or parts of the United States like Utah and North and South Dakota and stuff, guys, relax, okay? What Gary's saying, $1 million gets you an average.
Owen's right. There is no transit up there. That's another thing. There's no transit up there. No buses.
So people watching this down south in the southern United States, Gary just wants to buy an average family detached average home. He's not buying Michael Jordan's house for $1 million. He's just buying an average detached home. So people in the States, relax with the comments. I got some pretty rude comments the other day on some older videos. Relax, okay? Because I understand, and where a lot of people in the States live, $140,000 gets you a 4-bedroom with a pool. But unfortunately, here in Canada, we're very limited where we could live because we don't have a lot of major cities, right? So $1 million gets you pretty much nothing in our major big cities, unless you go to Alberta and you're retired and you don't need an income, where you could just buy a house and just sit there. Right. So, all right, Gary, continue.
I don't know, man. Like I said, I mean, Bolton, there's nothing up there as far as it goes. Places as far as, even further than that are asking for $1 million for homes, and there should be like maybe, I don't know, in the 6s, maybe 7s tops. I mean, it's getting to a point where it's ridiculous. I mean, this virus coming in was the trigger, but it definitely wasn't the cause. And the McChronicles said that, and a lot of people have said that as well. But like I said, I mean, it's unfortunate that it took a virus to correct everything. And I believe everything's finally going to correct. I think it's going to happen within a few months, hopefully. Mm-hmm. But probably before the end of the year, we'll see a correction of some sort, if not already. I mean, the stock markets are pretty much done. I mean, they went up today, I think, but that's what you get when you pump unlimited funds into that. So that's pretty much what's happening there. But I think it's safe to say that things are not good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, keep an eye on the prices. I know you're watching those listings 24/7. Keeping now that you're on quarantine, so you're not working now.
No, not at the moment.
Okay, and okay, so I guess you got time to do more stuff around the house. I guess maybe get some projects done. I guess.
Yeah, cleaning up mostly.
Yeah.
It's been it's interesting, man. I mean, like I said, less than a week and the eyes already almost at 1 million people. I mean, that goes to show you where things really are. And
that was the first article I read on the show tonight, and that was a big deal because the graph looked crazy. If you look at the graph of unemployment applications, you go to this month, it goes right through the roof, literally up to the top to 1 million, basically. And
Yeah.
I've never seen that ever myself, ever.
Owen's right there. He made another comment saying no house should be over 500K. I agree with that. That's true. I don't
Well,
think any house
yeah,
should be over
an average
500K.
detached
I mean, an
home, an
average house.
average like an average detached, and when they have these teardowns in Australia and Vancouver going for $1.8 million, and there's no bathroom in the house. I don't know if you remember, Gary, that article I read. There's no bathroom. There's an outhouse. There's no bathroom in the house, and it's like two
Yeah.
bedroom, and they want 1.8. No, sold for $2.4 million.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I said, we're living in interesting times. I mean, even rent is going to be interesting how people are going to pay this off, even with the money that I don't even know where this Trudeau's getting all this money that's supposedly going to help with this, all this stuff. I don't know where this money's coming from, but
Well, he's gonna
I
have
can
to
tell you
pay
right now,
overtime now.
yeah, we may be getting this help now, but this is something we're gonna pay for in the long run. Like everyone should keep that in mind.
Yep, but the thing is, yeah, you're right, Gary. But the thing is, he needs to work overtime because nobody makes enough money to pay the rent, right? So they have to work 2-3 jobs. So
Yeah.
what are they going to do? The government has to pay people staying home overtime on top of time because instead of like 1 week of work pays your rent for it's like 3.5 weeks of work pay for your rent. So the
Yeah.
government now has to dish out huge cash to keep this thing going.
Yeah,
So that's
it's
the
true.
problem.
Again, I don't know where they're gonna get this cash, and or even these mortgage deferrals. These apparently they want to delay the mortgages, and I'll tell you right now. Apparently, you got to be rock bottom, like have no money in order to qualify for that. Because if you got money in the bank, or if it shows that you're steady with what you have in the bank and all that stuff. They're not going to defer your money. They're not going to defer your mortgage. So whoever thinks that's going to be an easy thing to do, it's not. It's going to be very. They're going to analyze everything before they say, okay, no problem. You can get the deferral for 6 months. It's not going to be that simple.
Wow.
And I'll tell you right now, outside lenders, like outside the bank, you'll be lucky to get a month because I'll tell you right now, they want their money right away.
Yeah, secondary lenders are gonna find it really hard because secondary lenders paying 8 to 10% mortgage rates are gonna have a really tough time getting. Those people are gonna have a really tough time getting any of their money
And that's
back.
where everybody went when the stress test came into place, right? So keep that in mind. I think they got more of a share in the pie than the banks do.
They did actually. I read that article on the show on Better Dwelling that secondary mortgages are starting to surpass the big four or big five banks, right?
I think they already did, man. They already did. And those people right there, I don't know how they're going to do it, but I hope that everything works out for them. But I don't know, man. I don't believe they're going to do a 6 month deferral on secondary lenders. They're going to want their money right away, even maybe a month tops, but you won't get more than that.
Yeah, Anthony D in the comments is saying a 500 square foot condo in Toronto should sell for 90,000, not 500,000. It's a box in the sky. That's exactly what it is. But the thing is,
Yep.
you can't buy a condo. Yeah, you can. Give me that 90 grand Canadian. I'll find you a condo in West Palm Beach. You don't like Florida? I'll find you a condo in Austin, Texas. I'll find you a condo. I'll find you a 1 bedroom. I'll find you a 500 square foot in a good area in a major city in America for 90 grand Canadian.
Yeah. Well, like I said, and I've said this before on the show, that Trudeau basically caters to foreigners.
He has to, because our economy was built off foreign investing.
Yeah,
When
but
Canada
now we're
was
gonna pay
introducing
for it.
500,000 Chinese per year, I read the article a million times here on the show. The article says it on the headline. Canada wants more Chinese, 500,000 per year. That goes to show that the average earners, the average people that actually built this infrastructure, could go to hell.
Yeah. And all I know is he's catering to them, and then the Canadian proper right now are the ones that are going to pay the price, right? I
That's
mean,
right.
like I said, all these people claiming unemployment, employment insurance, and all that stuff. I mean, it's not a joke to have that kind of people. I mean, if you got close to 1 million people applying for EI, this housing market can't stay where it is. I'm sorry, it won't.
No.
It won't. It won't.
No.
It won't.
can't.
They're gonna have to. It's gonna have to fall. I don't know how much it's gonna
Well,
fall.
because the foreign investors
But-
can't sell to the common Canadian because one, they don't have enough to buy, and then two, no one's working. So because again, we're not tying wages to housing. Average wage earners should be tied to housing hand in hand, just like my two hands here. That's how it works. And then once we sold out, we're screwed.
People think I'm controversial, but the truth is, I'm a nice guy.
I don't know, man. I don't even know what to say anymore. Like I said, I'm still up against the fence about this. I mean, I mean, like I said, I mean, it sucks that this virus had to come, but I mean, it does really suck. But it again, it was the trigger, but not the cause. We've been heading for this a long time.
Oh, we
This
have. We've been heading
the
for this.
virus just accelerated the process big time.
Yeah, because
But
if let's say
this was going to be the year this was going to happen. I think it was going to happen more towards the end, but it happened now because of this virus, and it sucks. Like I said, this virus, it's done some horrible damage, and it's still doing damage, and it sucks.
We just got started. We got 1 week, 5 days to go when it hits the West here. I've been counting this down on my channel since 6 weeks ago. I've been saying, give it 4, give it 3, give it 2. Now we're on 1 week and 5 days to go, and you're going to see it here in North America, and it's going to be like Italy, man. Gary, don't get out of the house. Don't leave the house, buddy.
They're going to do a mandatory shutdown. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, mandatory shutdown is going to happen, but Gary, don't get out, please.
Well, I'm in my house now. I'm not going anywhere unless it's an emergency or something. But other than that, I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, it's called a plandemic. Someone's saying in the comment section, it's a plandemic.
I don't know, man.
Yep.
It sucks. That's all I'm gonna say. It sucks that this had to happen and all these people, getting infected and stuff. It's not good.
Yeah.
It seems to be healing. I think that's what I heard anyway. So. Apparently they're slowing down, or their cases are not there anymore, or something like that. I don't know the whole story. I haven't read too much about it, but apparently they're doing a lot better now. So now Italy, I feel bad. Italy's. I don't understand how Italy got so bad.
No, Gary, Canada's going to get just like Italy in 1 week, in 5 days. Because what's happening, I've been following the algorithms. Northern Italy has a lot of factories where there's a lot of Chinese migrant workers working there, making Gucci wallets and stuff like that. That's how it got bad. Vancouver, Toronto will get bad, but those are the people several weeks behind bringing the COVID in, right? They're several weeks behind. So give it some time. 1 week and 5 days, you'll see what's happening in United States and Canada by then. You're going to be like, what the heck is Mike Martin's holy crap?
Obviously, this is not something we want, we don't want this shit to happen, right? I mean,
nobody wants this to happen, but what I'm saying, it's gonna get bad, Gary. And
I agree with you, but I'm just saying it sucks. That's all.
It does. But maybe this is the wrath of God, a planner cleansing. I want to thank 2003 Debo for sending me $2 for coffee. 2003 Debo for sending me $2 for a coffee. Thank you so much.
Like I said, Trudeau. Like I said, he's an idiot, and I've said it in the show many times. I think he's spoken more times to Canadians these past week and a half than he's ever talked to Canadians in his life. So there you go.
I know. I saw him on the news like 4 days in a row. I'm like, is this normal? Like, where's he? Is he in Costa Rica? Where is he?
He doesn't know what he's doing, man. The guy's just going. He's just, what he's doing. He's just, showing that he's doing something. And at the end of the day, if something when this thing happens, he's gonna blame it on the virus. He's like, oh, it's a natural thing that happened. We couldn't control this and this and that. I think he's just going through the motions, to be honest with you.
But
I think that's the plan.
Did he honestly think that he could slow this down by handing out flyers at the airport?
No, of course not. Like I said, he's just going through the motions, making it look like he's all prime minister-like. And, I can't even look at that guy on the TV. I want to knock him out every time. Mm-hmm. But it is. But I don't know, man. It's just, I think he's just going through the motions. And then when this happened, he's going to blame it on the virus because, it wasn't him. It was the virus, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Like, I believe it is going to get worse up here, and it's going to get to a point where they're going to have to shut everything down permanently. I mean, Ford is another, joke because this essential service thing that he released for, he says all essential services are going to close in Ontario starting today, I guess. And he released the list. Almost everything's still open. I don't understand what the heck what this emergency was, but, Toronto is under a state of emergency. The mayor declared that, so Toronto's under emergency now. Yeah, man, it's interesting. We don't know what's going to happen here. As far as the housing market goes, all I know is I'm seeing a lot of listings come up. So, the people who can't afford are already starting to sell. So the market, I believe, is going to get flooded. Every day I'm seeing, lots of houses being put up. So, and they're flooding at a time where nobody can buy, so.
Well, of course, no one could buy and no one could get out to see the damn things.
Yeah. So those people who are stuck with their mortgages that they can't pay for, which is why they're putting it up for sale in the first place, because there's no other reason, in my opinion, to sell now unless you can't afford it.
I love
people.
China.
Real estate agents are not all of them, but some of them push these people to buy these homes, spend $200,000 over asking, and now they're going to pay the price for it.
Mm-hmm.
So it sucks, but you know what? It's a necessary evil, in my opinion, as far as things to correct. Because you know what? We need a reset. It has to happen.
That's right.
It just sucks that it took a virus to do it.
Yeah. Oh well, it is what it is, and it's uncontrollable. And apparently in China, it's got no more cases, and everything's going back to normal. And you know what? I'll believe it when I start seeing. Huh?
I find that interesting that they're going back to normal. I don't know. I don't know. It seems kind of odd that they're back to normal. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's something. That's maybe another story. But
yeah, we're going to discuss that on Mike in the Night, and this Saturday we're going to do an extended show on Mike in the Night. Maybe we might go 4 or 5 hours, like a nice long stream. I'll start a lot earlier, and we'll get a lot of callers in. We'll get everybody to call in. But the deal is with this is that we ain't seen nothing yet here. And then with China, I find it very hard to believe that China is already like opening up provinces and reopening everything up. And
yeah, it seems strange. Something's not right there.
Something's definitely not right.
Yeah, we can talk about that on Mike in the Night. That's no problem.
Yeah, we'll do that
but
for
as
sure.
As far as the housing market goes, I mean, it looks like we might get that correction. How much of a correction, I don't know. But I guess time will tell. I'm still on the fence about it because, I got to see this thing to believe it. So things are still selling kind of over what I'm looking at. But not a lot, but things are selling over. But a lot are selling under as well. So it's kind of a mix right now. So we'll have to see where it goes.
All right.
But it's going to be a few months for sure.
For sure, yeah. We're looking at to the end of August or September.
Yeah, until we see anything really with the market. I think people are going to try their best to keep the market afloat and keep these prices high. But once they see that people can't buy these $1 million homes and and bid over the $1 million home, I think they're going to start realizing that that the market's messed up. And the market's going to get flooded now when nobody can afford to buy. So, and people right now don't have a choice but to put up on the market because they can't afford their mortgage anymore. And what they're getting from the government or EI or whatever you want to call it isn't going to be enough.
No, it won't.
Mexico.
It won't be enough.
Well,
to keep above. Yeah.
That's why all these listings are coming up now. Like the job layoffs we have now, man. It's like I said, it's over 1 million already, if not 1 million or whatever. And EI is showing it, right? So. Yeah. I talked to Evan the McChronicle, and he told me that apparently EI was getting so applied for that the site crashed. So,
yeah, the site crashed in Australia too, and the site crashed in New Zealand apparently too. Yeah. All the sites are going down because they're just overloaded, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Gary. Thanks for your insight and giving your input on what's going on. And yeah, we'll have you try and see if I do a long Mike in the Night. Maybe try and come on early if you can this Saturday.
No problem, man. That's not a problem.
All right, Gary. Thanks so much, buddy.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Okay, bye. All right, guys. That's Gary Maderos, and he's been on the show quite a few times. And
people think I'm controversial, but the truth is, I'm a nice guy.
And Gary's a nice guy. I like Gary a lot. Lots of respect to Gary. And Steve, I don't know where Steve is. He's not in the comments yet. Not sure. But he never misses the show. He always finds a way to get on the show. So
I love China.
All right, let's go here to keep going here. Let's go back to the stories. Now let's kick off about American news here. How COVID is impacting Seattle housing market. We asked 3 experts. So COVID-19 has put many parts of life on hold. In the Seattle area, across the country, it has shut down restaurants, bars, entertainment facilities, schools, forced thousands in the region to start remote working. But according to local real estate agents, experts, people still buying and selling houses in what continues to be a strong housing market in the Seattle area. They have definitely been some changes. Northwest Malta. So here's the deal. They're not going to tell us. So in-person public broker open house, agents are relying on technology, virtual tours. So what's been happening too, and I know this happened in Vancouver for many years, in 2013, 14, 15, 16, like before they put the foreign buyer's tax on. A guy living in China calls his friend in China, says, "Hey, you want to buy a house in Seattle?" "Yeah, maybe. Yeah, sure. I could park some money in America right now with this whole COVID thing and this draconian governments." They shadow flip it. He sells it to his friend, another corporate company in Seattle. Well, he has a corporate number in Seattle that's all put together by our beautiful mortgage brokers and beautiful mortgage agents. And what they do is they keep shadow flipping the house between themselves back and forth to park more money in Western United States. And that's happened a lot. That's been happening a lot. And that's called shadow flipping. So that's what's happening. I believe it's a big deal. After Vancouver implemented the foreign buyers tax in 2016, everybody ran down to Seattle and Toronto. And look at Seattle and Toronto. Portland renters in public housing shielded from evictions due to coronavirus-related impacts, financial-related impacts. So what's happening in Portland, Oregon, south of Washington State and north of California, basically they are getting more time. They're getting, that's it, 6,980 evictions. Public will not be evicted right now in Oregon. And new relief measures coming for Portland small businesses, low-income households. Portland City Council voted Wednesday to transfer $3 million in general fund money to fund a fund that will help respond to COVID-19. $1 million of that is poised to be pushed out to small businesses in the form of emergency relief grants, administered through the Prosper Portland, the city's economic development agency. So that's basically they are sending money out to small businesses here, and the general fund money will be used for grants to small business reeling from the pandemic's economic fallout. Prosper Portland's executive director estimated the funds will be enough to support about 150 local businesses. Between $5,000 and $10,000 would be available for each business. So there you go. They get $5 to $10,000 each, and they kind of throw it into the business and kind of throw money at the problem, see if it goes away. You know what I'm saying? And see what happens from there. So Portland's doing the right thing there. And Covey will make California's affordable housing problems worse, experts say. So this is the reverse. We've been talking about in Canada saying that affordable housing might get better in Canada because Covey's coming in. But in California, it's going to make it worse. California already faced a shortage of more than 1 million homes for low-income families before the novel Covey hit. And now many advocates, economists, and politicians say the pandemic is going to make the situation worse. Major job losses, particularly in low-wage restaurants and hospitality sectors, and that will probably be severely depressed tax revenues for California and its cities. This could create even a greater need for affordable housing at the time when government has less money available to help finance it. So there's all these households that are one paycheck away from not being able to pay their rent. And that's what Canada is too. Millions of residents were already facing severe costs of burdens because rent has outpaced the income growth, and at a time when overall housing productions have remained low. So they want to kind of sneak in the supply and demand issue when you got, for every homeless person, you got 4 empty units owned by foreign investors in California, in Los Angeles. For every 4 homeless people in Los Angeles, so no, for every 1 homeless person, you have 4 empty units. Brand new units just shut down because it's owned and it's private. Yeah, Ed Hutch says this will hit the working poor the hardest. They canceled, Red Pill Millennials saying they canceled people's travel insurance to Florida, so lots of people are coming back at once. Yeah, lots of retirees. Yep. Excuse me. Mike Martian saying, I could pay rent for 20 years, but I think of not paying it just for the heck of it. Yeah. Will decline phone call. Mike, thanks. Will decline phone call. Oh yeah, I said we need Steven Sewell on the show to come on. Ed Hutch, come on the show, buddy. Let me know how you're feeling. I know you ain't feeling well, and I think you got you said you've been sick, coughing a lot. So Ed Hutch, if you want to come on the show, you've been commenting for ages on the show. If you want to come on, please come on. Add me on Mike Martin's 1980. I want to get some fresh callers on the show. All right. So the Covey is not going to help people in California. Oh, Covey's impact on Houston's housing market. There's a video
Springtime
here.
is supposed to be prime time for Houston's housing market, but just like everything else, coronavirus has really thrown realtors a curveball.
Tonight, Channel 2 investigator Mario Diaz talks to the experts about where the market is headed and how buyers and sellers are getting creative in making one of the biggest decisions of their lives.
For many, it is one of the biggest financial investments of their lifetime.
Of course.
The purchase of a home. As coronavirus has crippled the
Mexico.
economic landscape with vast uncertainty, one thing is for certain. Real estate is not going anywhere.
There are still people that have to buy a house, and there are people that need to sell their homes.
Currently, the Houston Association of Realtors, better known as HAR, has 25,420 active homes, with another 11,721 under contract. One of those selling is Scott Miller.
Every day that goes by, the more dust it collects.
Miller tells Channel 2 Investigates he recently put his investment property on the market. However, coronavirus is already having an impact.
It's been a little slow lately, getting buyers to come out and walk through the house and see if they're interested in it.
Realtor Kristen Logan says that up until the early part of last week, real estate numbers were on par with prior years. But then she detected a downshift.
I think a lot of people are becoming more and more concerned about their safety and the safety of others.
Questions over square footage, schools, an updated kitchen have all taken a backseat to safety first.
What's the number one concern you're hearing from sellers right now?
Their safety.
I like the distancing, the social distancing. Look at that. He's got his mic on a boom. He's got his mic on a boom. Look at that. That's the safety in social distancing. Look at that. Wow.
Their well-being.
The Texas Real Estate Commission is advising realtors to adhere to state guidelines and refer to the CDC website for the latest information about ways to deter the spread of the virus. One major concern: open houses. HAR recently pulled all public listing for open houses. So with that publicity out the door, agents are embracing one tool like never before.
Hey, Nicole.
Hey!
Where are you going today?
Realtor Nicole Freer says it is the same one she has been capitalizing on for quite some time: social media.
Social media is what everybody's doing right now. It's the safest way to continue to do our business and still make our clients and the public
Her eyelashes are so fake, you could tell. And her eyebrows are painted on.
feel comfortable and safe.
But all this does not translate to homes not being shown. In fact, Logan has several in contract.
I am definitely out showing actively with my clients, and we're keeping our distance.
And sellers are also making special
You see that house in Texas right there? That's like 300 grand for that house, that beautiful home. Less, maybe 270 you could buy that house. And not because of Covey, because that's what that house is worth.
requests.
They're asking us to use gloves, use shoe covers, sanitize everything that we do touch.
Showings are not the only component that is called for changes. Shael Ralph, the vice chair of HAR's Multiple Listings Board, says closings have had to adapt as well.
Look, this one has a pool. It says right here, pool. House like this, I'm not joking. We could even find this. I could find you this house for sale on Zillow. I could find this house and I could show you this. This is like maybe 285 for this house, not even 300 grand.
It easier for them. The agents aren't allowed to go, but they're FaceTiming them in or Zoom calling them in so that they can actually be there with their client.
A number of changes implemented. Miller's advice in the midst of the coronavirus crisis:
I think it's healthy to have a healthy dose of fear, but don't let it control you.
With interest rates at historic lows, you might be asking yourself about refinancing. But Ralph says lenders are trying to put new purchases ahead of refis because they know people need to get into homes. Mario Diaz.
And don't forget, guys, the refinances, you don't get a lot of commission. They get a lot of commission. They get less commission when they refinances. They get more commission when they actually do a new home sale. They make more money. Lisa's asking, do we need real estate agents anymore? No, we don't. Not even close. All the paperwork could all be done through. You're going to get a lawyer anyway. The lawyer, gets routed to the lawyer to you. Sign, initial. It goes back through your lawyer to them, and then they just go back, and that's it. There's no real estate agent anymore. So we're going to see if we can get Supreme Cannon on the show later. Let's get 26 Gunter in the house before. I want to go to the UK. House prices is going down or hit a halt in the United Kingdom. And that's a major deal because the UK is got so many empty units. You guys have no idea. We're talking like 60, 70,000 empty units in London area. It's gotten so bad. All right. Yeah, eBank, you saying Vancouver was 350K 20 years ago. That's right, because it was tied to wages. But people's wages 20 years ago to today haven't gone up much. But the housing is like $2 million. So there you go. Wages are not tied to the price of housing, right? So that's our problem. That's the problem we have. Everyone in Canada is a real estate agent. Yep. David Xavier in the house. Anthony D saying Chinese grocery stores make you put a mask on before you go in. There's a guy standing at the door with masks. You have to put one in before you could get in. You have to put one on before you could get in. So we got Tignum in the house. We got Red Pill Millennial says you sell one home in a year. You're a real estate agent. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what you become, a real estate agent. I tried to get in like 8 years ago. And I tried to get in because I speak Portuguese and Spanish and then I started looking like, wait. Nobody speaks those languages in Vancouver. Portuguese and Spanish? You go to Florida, everyone, like anywhere in the United States, you'll do fine. Anywhere in the United States, you'll do fine. But in Vancouver, you'll be talking to yourself the whole time. Even English, no one speaks. In Vancouver, it's getting so bad. Like, there's places that there's no even English signs up. It's all in Chinese. Yeah, Lisa's saying we need to wear a mask to foil facial recognition. eBank says, guess how much my new house in my area costs? Smaller but nice. A new $350,000. Nice. Yeah, so many people in Canada have a real estate license. That's right. So Big Row Buns is saying, hi, Mike, on lockdown here in Auckland. Yo, if you're in New Zealand, why don't you call us in, bud? Add me on Skype, Mike Martins 1980. Tell me what's going on in New Zealand. I haven't had a New Zealand caller in a couple of weeks.
Mexico.
If you want to call in, Big Row Benz, if you want to call in, I would like to hear you. Spiffy BB says tons of Portuguese in Vancouver construction, dude. I don't know about that. I when I go by construction sites, no one speaks English and it's not Portuguese.
Just like I promised, right?
All right. So we got the Donald Trump soundboard here helping us out today. And where's that? I love this when he says this.
I love China.
Digital currency. Yeah, I've been talking about digital currency on the channel. Someone's asking. We talked about it on yesterday, and I think was it yesterday or day before? Let's do a quick channel before we go over to the UK. Here, let's go back to the channel here and check it out. We did one. Where the heck is it, man? It's so buried in here. Let's go to videos. I think it's like 8 videos. Here it is. Congress to create a digital dollar, and we've been yeah, we were talking about currency. Here it is. The new Amero might be a reality. You know when I covered the Amero, unifying the United States, Canada, Mexico dollar? 4 years ago! Let's see if we get negative rates. Here you go. Negative rates begin. Can banks handle negative rates? I've been discussing also banks. Could you get used to negative interest rates? I've been covering negative interest rates for a long time. and stuff going back 5-6 years, 3 months, 1 month. Yeah, we're going to negative rates. We're going to go digital and negative rates. So if you think you have a savings, watch out. Just trying to see if I have anything else here. Anything cool here. All right, so let's go back. So guys, don't forget to check out the channel. Well, let's get Owen in the house. I actually want to call Owen, actually. I really want to talk to Owen. Owen, are you there? I need to talk to Owen. Owen, I need you on the phone.
I love China.
Owen, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, I need to get you on the phone. You know why?
Why?
I need you to tell me how grateful you are that you listened to my advice and not bought a house, because where would you be today without with this COVID?
I'd be drowning in debt right now, man.
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm right here. I'm just reminiscing on what you said. But you see, I've been getting emails for the last 2 weeks from people all over the world that said, Mike, I listened to you. You're right. Housing is severely overpriced. I don't care what interest rates are at. And people thanking me. So I thought I'd call you.
No, Mike. I thank you a lot for the guidance that you've provided me through your YouTube channel.
Yeah, baby.
Because I know it's helped more than just me out.
I could hear myself talking in the background. Lower the volume there for a second.
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, it must be my my speaker.
I'm sorry.
about that.
Yeah, don't be sorry.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay, so now you're watching on the sidelines, but I just read an article from California saying that housing affordability is going to get worse even though COVID is hitting, and people, they're not looking at prices going down in California, they're looking at them staying the same. So, what do you think is going to happen in Canada? Tell us, please. Owen, are you there? Oh my God, we lost Owen. Owen, are you there? I could barely hear you. Oh, but we're having troubles, technical difficulties. There he goes. Hello?
Hello?
Okay, perfect. I can hear you perfectly.
Hey.
Okay, so now, what do you think is going to happen? California says housing is going to stay the same, and it's going to be harder for poorer people will be even further poorer with this COVID. What's going to happen? Like in Canada, what do you see happening? And we discussed this. Oh, and you understand this, that the average wage earner can get into an average built home. Average wage earners are out of reach from the average first-time home buyer type home and one-bedroom condos and anything anyone can get into. They're out of reach of all of the real estate. So now that wages are nowhere near what housing is, now people losing their jobs, I don't think that's going to affect the housing market that much because a lot of this housing is owned by foreign ownership anyway.
Yeah, but it's still going to affect the foreign investors anyway if they are renting their properties out to us locals here because we won't have the money to pay.
Most 80% of them are just empty.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's all empty. It's all empty.
If it's empty, then we're just stuck then. There's nowhere to go.
Right. The average Canadian is screwed. The average Australian is even worse.
Yeah. And it's like that in the UK too. Mm-hmm. I'm not in some parts of the States, but like you said, most of them...
Usually Western United States and New York. Western United States and New York.
It's always been bad with New York, though.
Yeah, New York has been like that for a lot of people investing money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like Gary, man. I'm just waiting. It's just I don't know what to do. Like, where do you go from here?
Yeah, I know. I said this to you a gazillion times. You got to move to Texas, dude. You got to move to. I know you don't want to leave family, but you got to move to South Carolina. You have a trade. You're a trade worker. You'll find work. You'll get a company to sponsor you. You won't have to worry.
Yeah.
I know you don't want to do that, but you could move to Texas, buy a 4-bedroom with a pool. I could help you find a place for around 200 grand in a good area.
In Texas too.
You know, you don't have to deal with this crap. You like me. I didn't. I stopped dealing with this crap. I left a big city, and now I live in Merritt. And now I'm gonna look like a 2-time world champ. The second that if when this outbreak hits Vancouver in 1 week and 5 days, you're gonna see what's gonna happen, and everyone's gonna think I'm a genius for leaving Vancouver.
Yeah, this COVID-19 spreading like wildfire.
Oh, it's just a start. We put nothing in place. We have no safety nets. We have nothing.
Nope. I know most people aren't working right now. I don't know if it's fortunate or not, but I'm still working because they deem me as essential.
Okay.
They deem me as essential.
So you're still employed right now, which is good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it is or not. I can still be exposed to it, right? But
that's the problem, especially when they get you going to government places.
Yeah.
And those guys are still working too, right? So that might be a problem.
It might be, but there are other people stuck in the same situation as me, right? Doing other essential jobs.
Yeah.
Mexico.
Okay, so where do you see realistically happening now? Do you you're just like Gary, you're seeing more stuff coming on the market, but they're pricing it higher.
Yeah, and I don't know. Well, it has to be the foreign buyers still getting in, but I thought we closed our borders off, so I don't know how these foreign buyers are still buying up.
Oh, they're buying remotely. They're buying remotely. It's like that guy that was in Macau at the casino. One of the callers went up to him and said, "Hey man, how's it going?" The guy's like, "Oh, where are you from?" "I'm from Canada." It's like, "Oh, I own like 320 condos in Canada." "Oh, that's fantastic. You know, when you come to Canada, come and see me. We should go out for a drink." "Oh, I've never been to Canada, but I own 320 condos there."
Ah, man, it shouldn't be allowed to happen.
Oh, in Canada, we have to have Canada. Listen, Owen, Canada has only been saving itself from going into recession or a depression by bringing in foreign money. That's it. Not your money. They don't care about your money, Owen. They want big money coming in.
Yeah, but what happens to everybody else that's here?
Oh, everybody else could get lost. That's what it is. Let's go ahead and build the infrastructure. Let's go ahead and put everything together, and then everyone else could go to hell.
Oh boy. So how long do you see this this lockdown staying in place for?
October.
What? You think they're going to keep people in their homes until October?
Well, they don't have much of a choice unless they want this thing to spread.
Oh, October. Wow.
So, Owen, in 1 week and 5 days, put that on your calendar. Yeah. That's when it's going to happen, and that's when it's going down for real here. We're going to see a full-blown Italy. Look, it's not just Italy now. Germany's there. France is there. Portugal's there. Spain is there. All of them are starting to contract it as the further west you head.
Oh shoot!
Yeah.
I know. Every day here, there's been more and more cases.
Yes, and that's just going to get worse and worse. The ones that get it now are lucky because they get to use the ventilators and go to the hospitals because there's still space.
Oh yeah, that's true too. We don't have enough ventilators for everybody. You got a good point there.
Yep. So I just.
But once these people are on ventilators, like say if you have this virus, how long are you staying on this ventilator for?
It could go anywhere from 4 days to 3 weeks.
Okay,
and that's just to help you breathe from dying.
There should be some turnover there so that somebody else can use a ventilator.
Well, and the good news is in the United States, General Motors is turning a plant over to build more ventilators.
Okay, that's good, but how fast can they get that up and running?
I don't know if they're going to be sending them to Canada, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Canada is moving in very slow motion with this one. Very slow motion with this one.
No, you're right about that. Because I was reading an article earlier this weekend, and someone said something about they flew in from Singapore to here, and the airport at Singapore was way more concerned and had way more screening than Pearson Airport here in Toronto.
Of course. Did they get a flyer when they arrived in Toronto, or a pamphlet?
The article didn't mention anything about a flyer.
But the flyers are important to arm people with flyers. This is a way of spreading the word, right?
Yeah, that's Canada's way.
Yes, yes. A couple of flyers here, a couple of flyers there, and people are taken care of, right?
Yeah, I guess that's how they're doing it at Pearson.
Man. Yeah.
Sorry to hear about what happened to you earlier about your canceled trip there.
Oh, because it was the Philippines, I'm screwed. Yeah, if I was going to the States or something, they just refund me my money. But Philippines, well, sir, in Philippines, everything's good now. You could come. You know, it's like that
It's
country.
like, who are you trying to fool, man?
Yeah, that country could be 10 feet underwater, and they'll still tell you to go. It's safe. They'll never cancel your flight for Filipino Airlines ever.
Wow.
Yeah, the country could be completely underwater, like literally, like there's nowhere to land the plane. They'll still tell you it's good to go.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you did the right thing by not going.
Oh, I'd be in Manila's in lockdown right now.
Oh shoot. Well, isn't everybody in lockdown at this
But
point?
the whole city of Manila's in lockdown. The airports, everything. So I couldn't get out.
Oh yeah. So you'd be trapped there. Holy shoot.
I'd be trapped in the Philippines. Yeah.
Mexico.
Holy crap.
I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, I just go probably find a 5-star hotel somewhere in Manila, like really high end, and just find a way to comp it through my travel insurance, and just and then see if I could find a way to comp it through that or something. I'll find a way to, for it to cover it later on, or expense it through my income tax, or if I make any money through the year. Which I think I'm going to take a loss this year, which is fine. But if I take a loss this year, then I could expense any capital gains on that. But I could just bring it over till next year anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. So do you see them putting up any FEMA camps for the homeless?
No. We still have our homeless shelters open though. That's an essential thing. It's dangerous, but it's essential, right? You can't just have people out on the streets here.
That's correct. Well, we're going into spring now, so like,
it's a little better for them.
Yeah, it's a little better. Like I mowed my lawn the other day, and it's just better. You know what I'm saying?
I love China.
Yeah, in about 3 weeks, you could sleep outdoors 24/7 if you had to, right?
If you had to, it'd still be cold at night, but like you said before, in Toronto, it doesn't get warm until May 24.
That's right. Here, you could give it a couple of weeks. I'll be camping outside with my kids in a week or two in the backyard. That's what I'm going to do with the kids to pass some time.
Oh, no, you wouldn't be caught dead doing that here, Mike.
Oh. Yeah. Everyone's going to get sick with this, Owen. I need you to stay strong, stay positive, stay in the light, keep your target in sight. I need you to be strong at work and, sanitize, clean. When you arrive home from work, just take the clothes, put it right in the washing machine. Do not put it in the hamper.
No, that's what I do anyways.
Yeah, do not put it anywhere else in the house. Walk to the shower, take a nice shower, and then go ahead and start your day at home or your evening at home.
That's very good advice. That's what I've been doing anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, when this whole COVID-19 came in, they were telling everybody to wash their hands and sanitize. It's like, what? You weren't doing that anyway? That's what I did regularly anyway before this
I know.
whole thing.
It's like these people are dirty, man. Dirty, man. All right. Okay, Owen, I'm going to let you go.
Alrighty, Mike. Good talking to you.
Yeah, have a good night, and yeah, hopefully, I was hoping you would come and visit me this summer, but it looks like hopefully it's not gonna. It probably won't happen, but maybe next year. Okay.
Okay. My mom says hi and hi to your family as well.
Yep. Thank you so much. Hi to all you guys.
Alrighty, Mike. Take it easy.
Bye.
Yeah.
That is my man Owen. Yeah, I met this a YouTube follower of mine, and then we became friends. And I know his mom, I know his fiance, I know everybody in his family, right? So, and I think he actually met my dad before my dad passed away, or he saw my dad. So, what do we got here? Lots of comments flying through. We got Elizabeth in the house. Yeah, we've been going on for a while, guys.
You have everything going. The world is waiting for you to be president.
You're fired.
And we got the Donald Trump soundboard here. Okay, guys, let's get on to the let's get over to the UK here, the United Kingdom. Coronavirus to bring UK house price growth to a juddering halt. The coronavirus outbreak is set to bring UK house prices and the juddering halt in the coming months, a top economist warned today. The house price fell 1.1% between December and January, but they were 1.3% up from the previous year. So in the UK, they got a little bit of a spike. They started bringing in a lot of foreign investors in last summer. Last summer in the UK, they were advertising, come and live in England and the UK, and they're advertising it like, they were advertising it in China like the old London and the tower of the White Tower of London or whatever, and Uncle Big Ben and all that stuff. And they were advertising really hard in China last summer, and they brought a lot of more people and tour buses to come in and buy properties. And now house prices have halted now because a lot of people haven't been coming over from China to buy in the UK. The local UK? Well, you're not going to buy nothing. Well, what do you do for work, sir? Oh, I work as a family practitioner. You're starving, buddy. You have no money. Woo! And that's the way the cookie crumbles. So,
I love China.
Let's move on. UK can receive it anymore. We're gone. And that's what's happening right now. Many of Britain's biggest house builders and construction firms, including Persimmon, Bharat, and Bellway, have shut their building sites in response to the coronavirus outbreak, while others, including the London luxury home, have refused to halt. Group have angered workers by refusing to halt work. So there it is, guys. Luxury. It's not the luxuries, the $1 million homes you see like in Florida and in South Carolina and in Georgia. It's not those homes. Luxury is like a 2-bedroom house, and you're lucky you got something, and it's luxury. Like everything in Canada is a condo. Like when it comes to like a condo, from what I'm used to seeing, a condo is like marble, luxury, top of the line, everything. And then you come to Canada, I live in a condo. You go to the guy's house, or the guy's condo is like, this is a friggin' old rundown apartment. How the hell is this a condo? Coronavirus restrictions tipped to send Australian housing prices tumbling. Massive job losses and a ban on house inspections and on-site auctions will create a short-term hit, economist says. Economists have forecasted house prices in Australia will fall following the coronavirus-related restrictions on real estate operations and the mounting of tally of huge job losses across the economy. So again, guys, Australia, it's the same thing. A majority of money is parked in there from China, so they don't have to, like a lot of those luxury places that back 10, 15 years ago was just like an average place is now luxury. Unfortunately, that you're going to start to see won't move too much because the average Australian doesn't own. The average wage earner in Australia doesn't own anything. They can't get into any of the markets unless they move to like Hobart, but Hobart now is out of it's priced out of the market now. So on-site auctions and open house inspections will be banned from midnight on Wednesday under the government's latest attempts to prevent the spread of COVID-19. But the one thing I don't understand is why is the government allowing schools, high schools, grade schools, middle schools, colleges to stay open. It makes no sense. They close everything down in Australia, bars, restaurants, stores, all kinds of stuff that's non-essential, but they allow schools to be open. It makes no sense. We had Scotty Morrison in the comments. Maybe we could get him on the phone here and give us a little bit on what's happening down under. Let's get, you know what? I want to get my man down in Australia. Let's see if he's available. Where is, what's his name? Let me just find our guy. Okay, let me go here real quick, guys. I want to find my guy, Steven. I got a guy, here it is. Let me, apparently I talked to him 5 days ago. Let me give him a call. He's in Melbourne, Australia, guys. It's like lunchtime there now. No answer from Steve. That's okay. I'm going to try and get him on the show later. Steve lives in Melbourne, Australia, and he could give us a little bit of insight on what the heck is going on with the housing in his... Ashima says she wants to come on. Let's see if she picks up the phone. Nobody home. Okay, so there's nobody picking up their Skypes tonight. I don't blame them. I'm not blaming people for not picking up their Skypes. I ain't blaming... Okay, we're going to get Stephen Thomas in 20 minutes. We'll get him on the show. We'll get him on the show from Australia. He's going to give us a little insight on what the heck is going on with this market because, you know, he's in Australia. He's a financial advisor. He goes over people's finances and looks over stuff, and he understands what is happening. What else we got? Red Pill Millennial here. Saying they're fake estates, you mean? Crap estates, junk estates. Matrix, Rip09. How can I get on the show, Mike? Okay, we got a caller in. Hello?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. I could not get your call. My phone could not ring. Like, my Skype was not ringing.
Oh, no problem. That's okay. That's okay. That's not a problem. We're not... It's fine. Okay, so how are things? Everything okay with you?
Yes, everything's okay with me. Lucky my husband has not lost his job so far.
So how do you feel about this whole COVID thing?
You know what's happening. It's all a pandemic, as one of your viewers said it. It is true. It's a pandemic.
Okay, it's a pandemic.
So, yeah, see, they planned something, as you say, Mike, I've been listening to you and everybody. They planned to come up with something. It got out and it just became too big.
Okay.
And then you see, you know what the central banks are doing. They're selling bonds, they're selling junk bonds, corporate bonds, they're basically buying the student loans, they're buying your mortgage debts, you know, everything they're buying. It's like a QE infinite.
Yep, QE. How long have I been saying QE infinity for?
Yeah, quite a while.
Yeah. Other people have been saying QE infinity. It's like, come on, man. Somebody should give me a little plug once in a while. No one plugs me.
And I like China, you know.
Oh, I like that thing. Hold on, let me bring it up here. Where is that? Oh, right here.
I love China.
Yeah. And And then the next one is like, and the one here in Canada. I don't have to tell you, right? We watch them every day, jumping around on our screens.
So have you been watching Mike in the Night too, or no?
Of course, I have been.
Okay, we're gonna have a special Mike in the Night. We're gonna probably do like a 5 or 6 hour Mike in the Night, or we're gonna start early in the day and go into the night to midnight. So we'll probably go from 6 to 12.
Oh, yeah, good, great. Because that's a very good idea. Now, as far as housing is concerned, Mike, you know it. This was meant to correct. And first of all, if they really bothered about all of us, about the common man, crediting $2,000 to our accounts, why did they let it go out of blow? I mean, why did they lose control on it?
Okay,
I don't get it.
Let me ask you a question, okay?
Okay.
Hear me out. The average Canadian, average wage earner in Canada cannot afford to get anything in any market. They can't even afford. They have to save 30 years to put a down payment, right? Now, my question is, how badly do you think the housing market is going to be affected anyways when a lot of the foreign ownership that own these properties have no one to sell to anyway? So would they just hold the properties, or do you think, because the average wage earners, usually when an average wage earner loses his job, the housing market crashes with it. But because the average wage earner doesn't own a house anymore, what's going to happen?
So these houses, Mike, are not from a normal income. Most of them are not. I mean, like, very few. I'm not saying all of them. Let's just segregate. Let's say 60% of them are snow washed money, or rerouted money from Panama, from the tax havens, and you know what? Canada has been a tax haven. No questions asked. Transfer money, no questions asked. Yeah, and you know what? I definitely know from being on the other side of the system. Go deposit over 10,000 in your cash deposit. Everybody was accepting it. No LCTR reports. What are you talking, Mike? Everybody knows about it. Oh, yeah, I had the money under my mattress, and I'm getting it out today.
Yeah, no, I know. There's a lot of monkey business going on. We know that.
You know that, right? So we don't, people who, an average person, an average honest middleman, we can't, our conscience does not allow us to do things which we know about in advance. We're so God fearing. We also God fearing. People on your channel, do you think we do things which are wrong? I don't think so, Mike. We're all very, very God fearing. We can't rob each other. And those people who inflate these houses, you just said, like shadow buying, selling. That's a cartel.
Oh, shadow flipping is dangerous.
I love China.
Yeah, because they just want to bring up the house prices.
Well, but they also get to park more money in the country because they made it clean through a real estate sale.
So that's why I tell everyone, just be happy in what you have. As long as you don't owe anyone anything, eventually no lunches for free. So $2,000, right? So let's say hypothetically I am earning around $120,000 per annum. How do you think am I going to suffice in 2,000?
No, you're not.
What about my
because $2,000 because average wages are not tied to rents. People are paying they have to work 3 weeks just to pay the rent. So $2,000, the government needs to start cranking out a lot of money.
Absolutely. Until when? So we don't know what are going to be the repercussions of all this happening. So they're buying the bonds, they're buying the junk corporate bonds, they're buying the student loans, they're buying I won't touch that corporate debt, everything the central banks are taking on their books. Now what they're doing, they're not going to do it directly, right? They just can't buy it off a retail person. So what they're doing, they're going through the primary lenders, the banks. So they're going to buy that and create their reserves in their accounts. Basically, most of the people like small businesses, I don't know. Till when are they going to do it? Till when they're going to support the economy like this? It has to have a self-generating engine as well.
Well, no, because our self-generating engine has been bringing in money from offshore. From 2011 to 2015, Canada laundered $200 billion in real estate.
So that's that.
So that's our engine. Now the engine's broken because we had to. You know how mad the prime minister was when he had to close flights in from China? He was so mad.
I like Panama.
Yeah, but it's so sad. You know what I'm saying?
So that's it. It's all broken now. And
I love China.
things have changed. People who were transferring these funds are now accountable from where they're transferring to. Everybody has gotten smarter. You don't want those economies from where the money is going out. Everybody's aware of it. It has to stop. It's stopping. It's going to die out eventually, and you have to look for. And again, doing those things which are not correct. It's not going to make you. It's not going to make you a better leader. Accept it. If I do something wrong as a leader, I am, and then I'm going to say is because I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm saying. I have done wrong, and I've sold equities in my trust accounts. You know it. You know what I'm saying.
Oh,
right?
God forbid anyone comes out and apologizes for something wrong they did. Nowadays, it's like you're not allowed to be wrong anymore, or you're not allowed to be caught anymore. Nowadays, when you notice when like high level government officials get caught or do something wrong, you know what they do? They apologize for getting caught,
and they resign. They're supposed to resign.
A lot of them don't resign, but a lot of our governments just apologize for getting caught.
So last time you saw how the money was being transferred to, these groups, the corporate groups, MasterCard. What's your retail group? The Loblaw. And there was another one. I've forgotten their name. Then another one. So the same thing now. They're going to be saving. They're going to be saving companies which have been doing buybacks. Now everybody's saying they're not going to fund any more buybacks. But where were they then when it was being actually funded? Why didn't they put a stop to it?
Yeah.
Right. Finance those companies. Why didn't you stop the buybacks when they were actually happening?
Yeah.
And why these repo market? Yeah, and why these repo market? I think they think that we all are fools. That's the problem, Mike. And we what can we do? We are supposed. Then they come up with COVID. They lock us up in our houses. We can't talk to each other. We can talk to each other over the internet, but they think we're fools, right?
Yeah.
So be it. If people think, I can't think others to be a fool, Mike. Because then I myself am the biggest one. So you wait and watch. This is how they're going to manipulate the markets. They're not going to let them fall. So there's never going to be a reset eventually.
Yeah.
They're just going to clean up the debt from one book to the other. It's all going to be putting one hat on the other hat on the other hat. It's just like a company who's going bazookas with their debts and just crossing the debt to another company. They rename the company. So now, instead of renaming the company, it's the BOC itself.
Yeah, and they're going to deleverage and they're going to create derivatives and all kinds of other crap.
Well, derivatives are already there in the market, right?
Yeah, but they're just going to create more.
So why is the market rising? Because everybody is like who had to short sell did, and now they are they're covering their transactions. So that's probably a reason why the markets also go up so much. But we have to wait. These markets are very dicey. You got to wait for a few months to see what's happening.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you.
I love China.
Have you been looking at homes lately?
Yes, I have been.
Have you noticed them going up in price, or other callers saying they're going up in price?
They're not bringing the price down. But I just know 1 month before, everybody was like into the brokers were so happy. The real estate brokers, everything was like selling over asking. Now it's under asking and not selling. So I've seen things which are 56 days on the market, 36 days on the market, and they're not selling.
Yeah.
And they're more coming in.
There's going to be an oversupply on the market. We discussed this about 8 months ago. Remember, we were talking about there was a major oversupply on the market. Nothing was selling. And then there was a correction, and then we lowered interest rates, and we eased back on the first-time home buyers loans, and we eased back on the stress tests, and then people started coming back into the market again. And then now, boom, COVID hits.
And so here we have these people. They've been throwing out since, all these commercial REITs and everything else. What do? They don't usually also buy commercial. They buy residential and turn it into a commercial rental and throw everyone out. That's what JPs and Chases of the world do, They buy these big properties and they collect the money from the markets and they throw people out of the houses. How was this allowed? Why?
I love China.
Weren't we dying then? Weren't people dying of COVID then? This is all over. I was watching a movie, a very nice film, how corporates are actually destroying the G7 countries, and that's where they're allowing all this, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's-
You buy up a unit, and then you sell each. You rent each unit, and this is not just happening here. I'm talking of the son-in-law at the White House. You know it.
Can I
It's
tell you
happening
something
everywhere,
funny?
right? Yeah.
In London, England, they had a really good summer last quarter of selling for homes of the selling season. But do you know that the London realtors and brokers and stuff, they invested a lot of money in advertising in China to bring London back. So more and more money will come into London. So they were actually seeing an uptick in prices, and prices started to go up again from the last 2 quarters, and then boom, COVID hits. Now everything goes back down. Instead of them say they don't even advertise in their own countries anymore to get locals to buy properties.
I personally know of projects here where they bought buses of whoever you're mentioning from their country, and then made them come here. And 2018, when again there was a low in the market, they all lost money. So they've been hit. They've learned their lessons, and they bought properties, investment properties. They were bought here in aeroplane loads. Forget about bus loads and truckloads. So this has all been happening. This is when you say that, oh, China is my best friend.
I love China.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's it. So that's that. Oh, I love China.
Yeah. Did you like that little clip I have there?
I like it because I hear that every day. The Chinese virus.
Yeah.
I love China.
Yeah.
I love presidency. So I hear that every day.
Yeah.
We all hear it, right?
Yeah, I do. Okay, any last words?
No, I mean, like, I just tell everyone for some good advice. Don't care of your deposits. Just keep your money safe with yourself.
Yeah.
Be diligent. What you have is yours. What you think you might have is not yours. Don't be greedy.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Right?
well, thank you so much, Ashima. And I just borrowed your picture here to put it.
Oh, that's Ishwa. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I see you Saturday.
Yeah, your picture looks good here. So I took it from your Facebook, so it looks really pretty here.
Thank you. That's the short form of my name. That's Ash. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. God bless you. We'll talk soon.
God bless all of us.
Hey, come on the show Saturday.
I'm going to do that.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye.
Yeah, we should have a Mike in the Nightathon. A Mike in the Nightathon, and
yes.
Maybe what do you guys think? A Mike in the Nightathon. We start at 7 p.m. and we go to 12, and I'll have people. I'll be full screening some guests on the stream here, so I could go to the bathroom and do whatever I have to do. And
I love China.
All right, let me catch up here and drink some water. Let me see if I could get Stevie Stevens on from Melbourne, Australia, to give us a little bit of an insight on what the heck is going on here. Oh, it's Rex Cohan. Yo, what's up, Rex?
Hi, Mike.
How you doing?
Mike, I'm doing okay. It's just there's a lot of things going on in the world, and I thought I'd give a call today.
Well, tonight is trends in the housing market, so tell us what's happening in either jobs, real estate. I don't want to get the channel flagged with any conspiracy stuff, right?
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So you got my avatar up?
No, I don't have anything up. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So in Vancouver and BC, markets are just frozen. They're not going up, and they're not going down.
Okay.
And that's because of this whole this what's happening today in society, and we're not going to really know until 3 months later, because the stock market's usually an indicator, a 3 month indicator.
Right.
So it'll trickle down into the housing in 3 months. But with all the money that was printed lately in the from the Fed, today we had the Dow go up about 500, was it 450 or something?
Mm-hmm.
And
it's above the 20,000 mark.
Yeah, it's above the 20,000 mark, but we might see it. If there's more cases getting picked up, more cases, we might see the Dow go back down. Some people are predicting the Dow to go down to 15,000.
Yeah, I think I told you 15 or 16 or 17,000 a few days ago, but
Yeah.
But we're gonna get the real brunt of this here in 1 week and 5 days. In 1 week and 5 days exactly is when you're gonna see a full blown Italy here in Canada. You're already seeing it in France. You're already seeing it in Germany blowing up when it comes to cases. You're seeing it now in Portugal, and Portugal is like 700 miles away from Italy, 800 miles driving. So it's starting to make its way out, and by the time a 1 week and 5 days hit, you're gonna start to see Canada and America go nuts.
Yeah, and just to on that point that it's the second wave that's more deadlier. Like for flus, it's the second wave that's more deadlier. So if this is the real McCoy around October or November during the election, the American election, if there's a second wave, if you look at the graph of the Spanish flu, you'll see the second wave, and the second wave for this will be much worse. And at that time, maybe the Dow will hit 15,000 or 14,000, but and if that's the case, then I think it'll impact the housing across Canada and the U.S.
Mexico.
Thinking that it should go back to, like, it should have a drop about 30 or 40%, but it's hard to predict because they have all these tools to keep propping it up. They have all these tools, they can print as much money as they want, buybacks. So it's really difficult to read. It's very complicated now. It's not so simple anymore trying to read the markets.
No, it's not.
No.
But are you going to come on Mike in the Night this Saturday? I might.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there. I just want to drop in and say hi, and that's all I got to add.
Well,
yeah.
Keep us on the pulse with what's going on. I know you're not traveling anymore because of this whole crap that's happening. I know you're home now. So we'll keep in touch. You know what? Come on Mike in the Night, and then we can start breaking down some geopolitical things that are happening right now in the Middle East and Eastern Europe.
Yeah, sounds good, Mike. Thank you for having me.
All right, God bless you.
Okay, bye.
That is Rex Cohan on the show. All right, where we got going in here? All right, let me see if I could get Steven Stevens on the show, because Stephen Thomas. I need Stephen Thomas on the show because he's going to make a difference. He is going to make a difference here tonight because Steve Thomas, there we go. Chatted 20 minutes ago. Let's give him a call.
The person whom you're trying
Damn,
to
he's
reach
not picking up.
Currently on.
Damn, he's probably busy. Damn. All right, let's see if we could get. Maybe my friend. Let me see if I can get this other guy from Australia on. See if he's trying to get on somebody from Australia. Everyone's Skype is either turned off or they're away from their phone right now. I already called 3 people in Australia. 4 now. And okay, call in 2 minutes. Okay, so we're gonna get Stephen Thomas on the phone because, again, he's a financial advisor for I think 33 years now, and he's been watching and seeing people's, financial choices in life and where people have headed when it came to certain things. So let's read this next article. Australian housing market will hit the wall in COVID recession, experts say. And as COVID hits holiday lettings, a shift to longer rentals could help many of us. So they want to get rid of Airbnb and sharing economy and all this other crap. They want to do housing for locals because people are made a lot of money off of the whole Airbnb crap, and then while people are sleeping on the streets, right? And they could easily afford some of the rents because they do get subsidy from the governments, but that ain't good enough. Auction activity suggests that the housing market remains remarkably resilient in the face of the COVID onslaught. Where is this from? This is from New Zealand. Yeah.
Mexico.
No, New Zealand.
Mexico.
And this is what's happening. Auction activity suggests the housing market remains remarkably resistant to COVID in New Zealand. Auction room activity suggests the housing market is far from remaining remarkably resilient in the face of the battering coronavirus is giving financial markets. However, while the total of number of properties offered at auction was slightly down to previous 2 weeks, there was little movement in the number of properties being sold. That has barely changed from the 179 sales, which gave salaries of 49% of the previous week's 181 sales, which gave sales rate of 56%. Prices also remained firm with 77% of sales achieving prices that were above their properties. So housing market is pretty much, and you guys, you see this house right here in New Zealand? You see that house right there? That little house. That's the one house. This is not attached. This is not a house in Atlanta. This is the house right here. This little thing. It looks like a trailer. Do you know what that is? $1.2 million. That's $1.2 million. I'll show you houses here, guys. Look. That's $1.2 million. See what you can get for like 40 grand in the States. Here we go. Let's go to 40 grand. Show you guys what you can buy for 40 grand. All right. For sale price 100 to 200K. Lots. There's so much you could buy for that much. Look. Look. This house is twice the size and it backs up on the lake. Your house backs up on the lake. The house is twice the size. 199 grand. That's about 275,000 or 300,000 New Zealand dollars. So you're telling me you're going to pay, honestly, wholeheartedly, $1.2 million for that? Look how close your neighbor is. I can understand if this is one big house. Look at this. It's got patchwork on the side of the house here.
Yes, and yes.
I fully understand.
No, but we don't know.
Yeah.
The Mexican government.
Yep.
I love China.
Oh, yeah. Delusional Mike episode. Yeah, it's getting serious now. Oh, we're going to watch these houses go down like rocks in the States. You know how many people that want to start a family and stuff and being held back on having a family and being held back on starting a life because now they can't even get a damn friggin' house? You know, I never would have fathomed this 20, 30 years ago. I would have never imagined that the average wage earner Canadian or Australian or could not afford to get into a house. Here we go. Look at this. This is a nice area. This is in Water's Edge Gulfport, Mississippi. Look at this. $180. You could probably walk in there, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 3,000 square feet. You could probably walk in this house and say, I got $150. You want it or not? You probably get there for $150. Look. Walk in there. Look how big that living area is. Oh, I got $150. You want it? Take it or leave it. I got $150. Here you go. Does it have a pool? Tell me it has a pool. But yeah, I'm just, it's stupid. It's stupidity. It's absolute stupidity. Look at that. $1.2 million for that?
Mexico.
All right, let's go. All right, Stephen Thomas said 2 minutes. Call when you're free. All right, here we go.
Hello, Stephen here.
Stephen, it's Mike Martins here. You are on Trends in the Housing Market. How are you, my brother?
Very good. It's going along really well, isn't it?
Yeah. So, okay. So I got a couple of articles open here. Coronavirus restrictions tip to send Australian house prices tumbling. Do you see this happening, Steve? Is this going down for real this time? We've been talking about a correction for the last... Huh?
Yes, it will.
Okay.
And the reason for that is basically hardly anyone has any income anymore.
no one has money anymore. So the average
That's right.
wage
You can't pay
earner,
what you don't have.
Well, the average wage earner isn't getting into an average built home.
No.
They're completely priced out of every major city in Australia.
Yes.
So now, what do you see happening? Before we go ahead with housing, I need to ask you one question. It's kind of important. Everybody was sent home, all non-essentials closed, everything's being shut down, but then why are kids still going to school?
Good question, because I'm one of the ones who thinks kids should not be going to school in this climate.
Do you have to take your kids to school?
No.
Okay, because
in this climate in Melbourne and Victoria State in general, the schools are now closed.
Okay, because I saw Scotty Morrison, your friend, the other day on the news saying that basically schools will be open and kids are not missing a year of school.
That's all good and well, but if they've got this virus and they're not here, it's kind of pointless having anything.
Right.
Quite frankly, I would rather just have a national holiday for 3 or 4 weeks and get it over and done with.
Right. Right. Okay, so now housing market's going to go down. Now, if the average person, if you go back to basic mathematics or basic business, average wage earner owns average wage home, average wage earner loses job, average wage home goes insolvent or bankrupt. Now, if the average wage earner doesn't own in Australia, who's going to go bankrupt?
Pretty much most of them, even though the banks have come out and said there's a 6-month moratorium on loan repayments. It's not on mortgages, it's only on businesses.
Oh, so they're not actually helping people pay their mortgages?
Not yet, no.
Whoa. Okay, because America's doing it, and Canada always says they're going to do it, but they're always like 2 months late to the show.
Yes, and Italy has a moratorium on mortgage repayments.
Yeah. How long do you think it's going to take for Australia to become, now that Australia's hitting flu season this week, how much longer do you think Australia is going to take before it becomes like Italy?
You're probably looking at about 2 or 3 weeks.
2 or 3, you're guessing 2 or 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm assuming here 1 week, 5 days before we get to Italy numbers here, because America's been blowing up real fast, and Canada's just, they're not testing anyone like America is, so there's a lot of undertested cases. In Australia, are you noticing people is it undertested? Are they telling people to be tested, or are they just ignoring it?
There's a mix. There's a group of people who just ignore it, and there's a group of people who are very fastidious about being tested.
Right.
And they are the ones that are in the tested population so far.
Okay. Because I know governments want to ignore this as much as, like, governments who are broke want to ignore testing people as much as possible because these test kits are not cheap.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting. So what do you see happening in now that we're going into fall in Australia and summer? Where do you see housing going now?
In the short term, they'll take a hit.
Okay, what are we looking
at? Long term,
here?
no one really knows because we don't know how long this is going to go on for.
Okay, so we're still on the hook for trying to figure out what we're dealing with.
Yes.
Nice. Are you at a party?
No. No, I'm in a community centre.
Oh, okay, because I hear someone tuning up a guitar there.
Not quite.
Oh, okay. All right. Anything we should know before we let you go?
No. Pretty much all I've said is correct.
Okay. So we'll give it some time. We'll get you on the show again in about 2 weeks, and we can give us an update on what's happening there on the ground, and let us know. Give us an update, okay?
No worries. All right.
Thank you, Stephen Thomas. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too. Bye-bye. Bye now.
So that's Stephen Thomas in Melbourne, Australia, giving us an update. They don't know yet. So, yeah, coronavirus restrictions tipped the South Australian housing market tumbling. He said it will. And he said, in his own words, that in 2 weeks we're going to see an Italian-like situation there. It's already happening in Germany and France and Spain, and it's on its way to Portugal. So It's making its ways. It's making its rounds. America hasn't seen nothing yet. America just got warmed up. All right, what's going on here? Woo! We got 98 people watching the housing show. Trends in the housing market. We don't get too many people usually watching the trends show, which is really good. I'm happy. Who else could we get on here? What time is it? It's 8:30. Let's see who else. What else we could add to the show here? So auction. So this house here in New Zealand, $1.2 million.
Yes.
And this house here in Gulfport, Louisiana, nice area by the way, 180 grand.
Mexico.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oops, I got something else here. All right. Well, there's a lot of beautiful southern built homes here, like the southern plantation type homes. They're really beautiful here in the south. If you could find a really good built one. All right, let's go over to like the Houston area. So much. Hey guys, you want to get like 10 acres of land and a huge house? It's probably haunted though, but who cares? Look at this. You got your own private road to get in. Holy smokes. How much is this thing? 199 grand. You know how much this house would be in Australia with this land? $14 million.
I love China.
All right, so we got sugar babies in college and universities is huge because it's like legal prostitution, and there are documentaries out about it across U.S. and Canada. No, we got to get Mike Banks on the show, man. He's always commenting. We need him to come on. That's a nice little starter home. Look, it even has a side home, too. And a wheelchair ramp, so when you get older, you can get into your house. And a friggin' stable for horses. That's a big... First thing I do if I bought this thing, look at the land on this. I would actually strongly consider fencing this off, right? Or planting trees along the property line here. That's what I do if I own that property. Lots of land. You could party it up here. Huge, man. Oh, man. That's nice. That's in Midway, Texas. 199 grand. So if you're going to spend $1.2 million at a house like this in New Zealand, I would honestly put 800 grand in the bank and buy this place and buy like a fancy sports car or something, or pave the driveway or something. I would do that. I would honestly, and I'd reshingle the roof here, and I have a nice freaking plantation style house. We need another caller. Let's see if Supreme's around. Hello, Supreme? Supreme, are you there, buddy? Let me see if my speaker thingy got screwed over again. Someone asked, Jesse's asking, Mike, can you talk about housing trends in the United States? Yes, I did earlier in the show. I talked about California, Seattle, Portland, Oregon. I talked about Texas. I talked about other states and what's happening with real estate and COVID and all that. I did cover it, guys. So, hello?
Hey, Mikey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. What are you up to, buddy?
Absolutely nothing. Just had supper. I just heard heard on the speaker down the hall, so I came to grab the headset.
Nice. Thank you. Okay, so I don't know if you've been following the show or anything, but COVID's hitting, and if you go to Canada here, let's go back here real quick where we covered the 3 stories we covered in Canada. Canadian jobless claims smash previous records, unemployment rate likely to double in double digits. And when you go to the article and read it, when you look at the graph, you actually think that the end of the graph is like a little bit of like a border around the graph, but that's actually the number going up to 1 million from 65,000.
Shocked, I say. Yeah, well, yeah. What's going to happen? You tell everybody to go home. What else is going to happen, right? The first thing everyone's going to do is file for Pogey. So yeah, it gives you an idea of the extent of the damage.
Yeah. So what do you think how much longer do you think this, like real estate, everyone's tuning in for real estate tonight. How long do you think this real estate thing is going? Now, BC banning majority of evictions during COVID-19. This is going to be harder for people to sell their properties if people can't be evicted.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, they've still got the books, right? So they've got past performance. Whoever buys the place is probably going to understand for, 90 days or so, they're not going to get any rent for buying the place. But obviously this is going to pass.
Right.
At some point in time. So someone who's got enough jingle in their jeans might decide to go ahead and close anyway. Just understanding that probably 60 to 90 days, they don't need to expect any rental income. Yeah, well, if they froze evictions, then the landlords they're dead in the water, right? Unless the banks are going to extend some similar clemency to those, the ones that have mortgages, it's going to be big trouble. And in the end, you're not really helping the renter anyway, because if the place gets foreclosed, then the new owner's just going to be able to kick everybody out, right?
Right. So we got Premier also announces $500 in relief for renters and struggling to make rent. $500. Here we go. Average wage earners are not in the housing market. They can't afford anything. So average wage earners do not own average wage homes. So the average wage earner could afford to pay down or pay off any upcoming debts or take some time off work. People are working 3 weeks out of the month just to pay their rent. So what the heck is $500 going to do for someone that's already going to be evicted? $500 relief for people being evicted to help struggling to make rent. $500, they're just going to take that and buy food.
Well, that's what I'd do. If I knew I wasn't going to be evicted, yeah, I'd be taking that $500 and buying some supplies. Because who knows, as long as you're not working, as long as you got sent home and you can't work, yeah, you're going to spend it all on food. Because you're going to be sitting at home until this is over, which could be a couple of months. Like, who knows? All this arbitrary talk about it being over in a week or two is a little optimistic, considering that, like I was saying the other night, like the toe of the wave has just arrived here. Like, it hasn't even passed over us yet.
Well, we had Rex Cohen on the show earlier, and he said that it wasn't the first wave of the Spanish flu didn't kill that many people. It was the second wave.
Yeah, this thing could still go around the world yet. Apparently, there's a new outbreak beginning in Wuhan, although I suspect that's just they've been lying about the numbers up to now.
Mm-hmm. Could we just take one step back?
Sure.
This is going to happen everywhere except in China, because China has already found this, and everything's back open like nothing happened.
That's right. Well, it's a wave that began in China, so China should be, theoretically, the first place up and running after it's passed. The problem the Chinese are going to have, of course, is that all the places they sell to are still going to be in the middle of dealing with it.
But the problem is, no one's buying this crap.
No one's buying this crap. No. Why would they buy it if there's nothing to? I mean, unless the Chinese start blowing the stuff out the door and having a real fire sale to get those container ships loaded and moving. There's not going to be a lot of orders.
I love China.
Who's going to buy the stuff if everybody's at home?
That's right.
I understand the Canadian government. I don't know if it's something that's been passed. Has been talking about $2,000 a month in emergency aid to wage earners who can't work. But apparently you have to apply for that. It's not automatic. So it's going to be like EI. I doubt it's going to be an instantaneous thing. There's probably somebody listening who's better informed than I am about it, but it's not something that's going to happen right away.
I've gotten quite a few emails the last day and a half with people saying that they applied for unemployment, and some of them have come back already and said that they do not qualify for unemployment. So that's a huge problem now.
Oh, be a massive problem, yeah.
Because a lot of people think they get laid off, they just go on unemployment. No. A lot of people don't qualify for unemployment. So you pay into unemployment, but you don't get it. You don't, you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, well, it's a work stoppage, I guess. But usually when you lay off an employee or send them home, you have to issue a record of employment, and that's what you take to the employment office.
Right.
Right? So if these people were just told to go home and they haven't been issued any paperwork because technically they're still employed, the government ordered them to go home, then yeah, they're going to have trouble unless they are just keeping cards going for a previous claim. They could have trouble applying for a new one. Yeah, a lot of people were not doing that well anyway, and now they're going to be in serious trouble.
Yeah, a lot of people were $240 away from going insolvent.
Yeah, well, it's happening now. Yeah,
bail out the airlines. Bail out those airlines.
Bail out the
so
airlines. That's right. Yeah.
With their $200 away from being billions of dollars on the airlines, we need to save these airlines so we can bring shoveling and more money from overseas here.
That's right. Yeah, there'll be lots of cheap $230 flights, and then another $10 for peanuts and whiskey, I guess.
Yeah, but the average Canadian won't be able to get on those flights because they're $200 away from being insolvent.
Yeah, no, it's going to wipe out a lot of people. They were wiped out anyway. The debt levels alone, the consumer insolvencies, delinquent payments for cars, credit cards, and of course mortgages. Last time I talked to Steve, and I'm sure you've talked to him since then too. The jingle mail was beginning to accelerate.
He told me in a phone call that he's been going and doing a lot of foreclosures.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad, but you know what? It never should have happened. It should never have gotten this bad, and a lot of these people, it's playing Monday morning quarterback, but they should never have gotten themselves this exposed, this late in a business cycle. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, lessons will be learned.
Jaspin Comic Ponic Boom says, what good is an airline without consumers? That's the whole point, is because the airlines kept getting bailed out over the years, but it's not even Canadians that are flying on them. Like a majority of it's a majority of money being shoveled into the country. That's $205 billion was laundered through Canadian real estate from 2011 to 2015. That's a lot of flights.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's what I meant. If they're $240 away from insolvency, well, then the airlines will offer a $230 flight and then $10 for peanuts and stuff. Right?
No, I'm joking.
Might as well blow your last month's, blow the rest of your money and go on a trip somewhere. Although that'll probably just take you to Calgary and back.
Well, Calgary,
yeah.
So okay, so what do you? So are you on par with me with 1 week, 5 days left till it was 1 week, 6 days yesterday. It's one week, 5 days today. Are you on par with me that we're going to see a full-blown Italy by then here in Canada?
I'm hoping that it isn't as bad as Italy. There were some factors in northern Italy that made it particularly dangerous, obviously. Mm-hmm. If it happens anywhere, if we get anywhere that looks anything like that, I hate to say it, but it's going to be Vancouver.
I love
just
China.
Because it's up against the ocean. It's in kind of a bowl. It's the gateway to China, and it can certainly trap smog from time to time. And it seems like when the air is not moving, that kind of environment tends to make this stuff hang around a lot longer. Yeah. Although we're getting into April, they're likely to get rain. It gets warm and humid. We'll probably dodge Italy per se. But yeah, there's going to be lots of people that were mingling when they shouldn't have been, and I think we're going to have a serious problem for a while. But even if it was half of Italy, it's going to be noticeable.
Yeah, it's a huge issue that we got going on with what's on its way, what's going down for real.
Yeah.
And okay, so we had Stephen Thomas, a financial advisor from Australia, on the show earlier, and he told us that they are 2 weeks away from a full-blown Italy.
I can't rule it out. You know what? It took so long to take precautions. A lot of places there's still large gatherings, crowds. I think St. Patrick's Day was still busy. Mm-hmm. That's getting on over a month ago now, of course, but it's still dangerous because it takes so long for this thing to manifest. Yeah, if we're going to get a wave, yeah, we're a week to 10 days away from it. This won't be over in a week and a half. I'm sure of that. The only way that they might have got ahead of it is if they had done kind of Hubei 2.0, just close all flights down, send everybody home.
Canada can't do that. Canada does not want to look like it's racist to close down flights.
No, heavens, no. So, all the
people that live in Canada could go to hell. And the people that built the infrastructure, the people that worked their entire lives to make this country what it is today, could go to hell. We need more money coming in.
Yeah, they're the past. We need to think about the future now. Well, all the people that believe in that ideologically, no doubt, have continued to mingle where everybody else has gone home. So, we'll see. Either they'll learn their lesson, or we're going to lose a lot of them, and I don't want that either. We're talking about lives here.
I know.
And people do change their minds, and they do learn. But no, the normal as we knew it, and most of us hated, isn't coming back. It's not going to be acceptable. This is going to be, I've said many times, this is going to be a political volcano.
So because we were so slow at doing anything, getting things on the go here, I remember Donald Trump closing flights in from China and hotspots weeks, not a week, weeks before Canada did. Weeks, like a month and a half.
Yeah, he did. The federal government down there is similar in the way to the one here, in that they do have to let the states make their own individual decisions about these things. Now, I think the federal government has control of the airspace, right? And they supervise the airports, as I understand. Those are a federal responsibility. So he had the power to shut down flights. Flights coming from outside the country, that makes sense. Domestic flights, it's unless it's already widespread and there's no way to prove it in January, early February, then there's no reason to restrict domestic flights. But you're going to reach a point where you're going to have to call the governors together and say, okay, we need a nationwide lockdown for at least 14 days, 15 days. They'll probably just extend the one they have now indefinitely.
So, Southern Hemisphere is going, Australia, New Zealand, Brazil, they're going into their winter now. And I'm very interested to see when flu season kicks off there.
Well, they're locked down now. Hopefully they've stopped.
Australia, what happened was everything shut down in Australia except schools. Children could go to school still.
Oh, yeah, right. We were talking about that yesterday. Scott Morrison saying that the kids had to go to school.
What's his name over on the show? Stephen Thomas told us, yes, he doesn't understand why they're doing that.
I can't get any idea out of it. I would put it down to a large federal state, again, operating with multiple silos that don't communicate with each other, right? They never, to listen to them, they never have enough money. But yeah, lavishly funded, very powerful, far-reaching, but they're all operating as silos next to each other that don't interact. That makes no sense. If you're going to send everybody home, then everybody has to go home. I would imagine that maybe it was a teachers union that doesn't want to do any kind of distance learning or wants competition from homeschooling. I don't know. I can't imagine what else. It has to be a political reason.
I love China.
Because it makes no sense otherwise.
So Cody Z says he's back in lockdown.
Oh boy,
guys, we're gonna have a lockdown Mike in the Night Show, guys, for you guys. We'll get what we'll do is we'll get Supreme Cannon on at a certain time during the show, so I could take a break. And
sure.
Supreme, what you could do is open a bunch of articles on your end and just talk for a bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I could take a break. We'll probably start around 6 or 7 p.m. on Saturday, and we'll go to midnight.
Oh, have a marathon.
Yeah, Mike in the Night Marathon.
Mike in the Night Marathon. So everyone gets to hear that song at least 4 times, though, right?
At least four.
At least, yeah, about every hour we'll have an intermission and play the song. Gemini Crew.
Gemini Crew, that's right. Mike in the Night and the Gemini Crew.
Right. Yeah, Payaso pointed out something. Australia wants schools open for foreign students. That makes, okay, I could see that.
They have to. They're not going to refund them because Australia's, there's a big portion of Australia's economy is based off of foreign student loans. Locals are tapped out. Locals have no money to go to school. Even if they get student loans, it's like $100,000, and they're already getting a mortgage without having the house.
Oh, okay. I might not have been clear on that either. This could be my bad. If they're talking about, colleges and universities, where you've got people from coming all over, and they've paid big money. Yeah, if it was public schools, then I'd be pretty upset. But I can see that. But it's still going to come down to they're going to have to practice, social distancing, and they'll probably they'll be monitored while they're there, obviously. And I imagine if they're foreign students, then they've either got billets or they're staying in dormitories. No.
Oh yeah. We got here. Cody Z says kids are doing a class right now. Next room with my wife.
Oh yeah, well that's good.
So this is not good. We're not protecting the well-being. If we know how ravishing this thing and how not ravishing but ravaging, how it's ravaging through China and what it did, and we don't even have the real numbers from China. Even Iran's scared to tell us the numbers. Even Italy stopped counting their deaths. There's of the 11 major hospitals in northern Italy, only 3 of them are counting their deaths still.
Yeah. I have a feeling one day the true toll of the Chinese part of it is going to be absolutely horrifying.
Well, but it's still going on. They're making, I think, honestly, you know how they talk about staging this and staging that? I honestly think that them reopening states and hugging each other and doing all this crap and people taking the bus and having fun in the videos, I think that's all staged.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's China. I don't think there's any kind of spontaneous demonstrations there.
Yeah,
you know.
I honestly think that's all staged. It's recorded, and they're doing that purposely to make it seem that China is back in business. I think they're nowhere near back in business because they got a bunch of people in from the northwestern province who don't even speak the Mandarin. Brought them in on buses to get them to work in the factories.
Yeah,
and they're getting sick.
Of course they are. If the thing hasn't gone away, and it's that's what I mean. Like you know, we're hearing all this conflicting information, and it sounds like this thing is for most people it's mild to harmless, but
I love China.
10%, it's toxic. It'll either wipe you out, or you'll be in ICU for a long time, or it will just kill you dead outright. Oh, in China. That's a huge number of people that would affect. No, it's got to. You've got to wait for it to go away. There is no other way, unless there's a treatment. Unless this hydrochloroquine or cocktail that apparently they're using in New York, unless it's the killer app that simmers this thing down. No, they're screwed. They're just gonna keep losing if they're putting these people back to work just to try to keep up appearances or maintain their precious GDP. Then they're just cutting off their other leg.
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
I love China.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you something. Housing. Are we going to hit the wall? I know it's hard to gauge a market when a lot of people don't file for bankruptcy because a lot of locals don't own the properties. How is it going to kind of pan out when it comes to a housing correction that we've been waiting for the last 10 years? How do we get this to work? Like, how do we get this correction? Like, if a majority of the properties aren't owned by locals, how does it, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, how, back in the day, average wage earner, average wage home, average wage earner loses job, housing market goes to crap. But not this time. Yeah. It's a little bit different now because a majority of people average wage earners don't even own their house. So if they lose their jobs, it's not really going to, it would affect the housing market because they're not in it.
Yeah, well, the whole thing was hanging in midair anyway, and this time around, obviously, if everyone is being ordered to go home, then the whole thing is just basically the only reason it's still up there is because everyone's gone home, like they've just hit the pause button on the economy, right? But there's still a trickle of people who are going to need to sell their places. 60 to 90 days of people not paying their rent, and if the landlords don't get some kind of grace from the banks, then they're going to start getting collection notices.
But
right?
Hold on, let's take one step back. What about the empty homes in Vancouver? Like 93,000 empty units in Vancouver. They're already empty. They're already owned free and clear. They were bought by laundered money. Then what? They don't foreclose on those properties, right? Because they're already owned free and clear. Then what happens? You know, you get what I'm trying to say? If a majority of people in Canada do not own, or a majority of younger average wage workers don't own their own properties, how are you going to experience a correction when the average wage earner just won't be paying their rent?
Right. Well, yeah, it'll come down to the same thing. The people that own the properties free and clear, they've got more leeway, obviously, but they still got to cover their taxes. So they're going to be paying that out of their own pockets. You would hope someone that owns multiple houses, paid off houses in Vancouver, has got a cash float to carry them for a while, right? They'll probably do better, but the price of those properties, as soon as all of the all of the mortgage properties that are around them start going into foreclosure or start getting blown out at fire sale prices, the values of those properties is going to fall as well. When the scaffolding gets kicked out, everything comes down. So if we don't get, and the problem is, as I mentioned yesterday too, when you get an economy going after something like that, even if everyone's got a little money in their pocket, well, they got to go to the store, they got to buy stuff. You got to get sales volume back up. Those containers have got to be reloaded with new products from wherever they're coming from now on, and they've got to, the supply chain has to refill. That's not going to take a week, right? That's going to take months. I think, off the top of my head. Right? Any surge that was built into the system is going to get cleaned out pretty quick because of pent-up demand, and it's going to take a while for the people that were laid off for enough sales volume or activity to call them back.
I love China.
If the businesses still continue to exist, because a lot of them were hanging on by their fingernails, right?
Well, could this be
so
ploy?
It's going to be months.
Could this be a ploy to dissolve the unions, and then this way there's no unionized work anymore, and then they could hire a bunch of people that are not unionized now, and then they could just kind of push them around and threaten them to send them home?
Well, I think the only private sector unions that have any left anymore are like the Teamsters and the auto workers, Mike. I don't, and Unifor in Canada, which is an amalgamation of I think 2 or 3 unions at one time. The public sector unions, well, they'll just threaten to shut down whatever province they're in. Right. So they're, nobody goes to war with them unless they have no choice. Well, all of our government's going to be backed up against the wall. There's going to be disruptions probably from the public sector too, because they're going to either be facing cuts, wage cuts, or they're going to be facing layoffs. And if they can't get those happening, then you're going to have hiring freezes. In the end, we have to balance our books. Sooner or later, we have to balance our books. And it doesn't matter what people think about that. If it doesn't happen, then we go bankrupt, we default, and we turn into Venezuela. Now, Canada has infrastructure. It has talented people. As long as we have property rights, we could rebuild in the case of a financial reset. But then you're talking a decade.
Oh, your friend's on the news. Greta Thunberg says it's extremely likely she had coronavirus. She went to Central Europe.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying it in the comments. It looks like she got COVID.
Oh, my little buddy got COVID. Oh, that's too bad. Well, I'm a little Swedish Pippi Longstockings, eh? Gee whiz. Well, you know what? I hope she doesn't, just because she's a young girl and she's, she'll learn. She'll figure things out. But it could just be because she's suddenly dropped off the radar and just wants attention. I think we're going to have people say, "Oh, me too. I got this too," because they're not getting attention.
Yeah, it could be that too. It could be that too. And I think was it Prince Charles or got it?
Apparently, Prince Charles has tested positive for coronavirus too now. Yeah, and that's funny because you would think people in those positions of power, with the kind of security and the splendid isolation that they can surround themselves with, would be completely protected from this. Certainly they would get priority to make sure they and their staffs were tested to make sure they're clear. But of course, the staff working in the kitchen and their security and their drivers and their gardeners and all the rest of it, they go home to regular middle-class neighborhoods. So I guess it's probably just a matter of time before somebody was going to get something. But the Prince of Wales, that shocks me that could have happened.
Well, there it is. COVID-19 deaths increase across Europe.
Yeah, well, they're going to, and apparently, there's little kids, there's healthy, marathon running, cycling, extremely fit people getting this too, which was true with SARS. There was an Olympic athlete. She was 22 years old. She got SARS, and she was dead in a few days. You don't know. It's random, right? Most people are going to be fine. It'll pass through, and if we can avoid a second mutation, maybe that will be the end of it. But it's still kind of random. Most of it's going to be older people with pre-existing conditions, okay, or people with COPD or emphysema, things like that. But there is still going to be a random 10 or 20% of people that you would never think would get something like this, that will be, you know, they'll be gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like any flu.
Okay. All right, Supreme, I'm going to let you go now. We've been talking for a good while now, 26 minutes. It's almost 9 p.m., so I want to wind down the show here. And I'm going to let everybody know about the new Mike in the Night. I'm going to change the image here that I have for the set reminder. Guys, go ahead and set your reminder for the Mike in the Night-a-thon. Go here, set the reminder. I'm going to change the image, and I'm going to change the name of the event this Saturday. So this Saturday, I'm doing nothing. So from 6 o'clock, probably till midnight, we'll do a Mike in the Night-a-thon.
Well, that sounds like fun, yeah.
It does.
Yeah,
We'll do that. We'll get people
I'll be around.
on and off and get later on in the show, a couple hours later, come back, tell us what's going on. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, absolutely. That sounds good. And we'll get it. Well, it casts the net wider to get more people to call in, too.
That's what I want everybody. I want Persuado Scientist to call in, Bob Smithers, Lord Humongous will call in, Chrysler Shredder to call in, Steve Stevens to call in. I want everybody to call in. Cody Z to call in from New Zealand. Low Roller Scratcher needs to call in. David Xavier has already called in. We'll get him to call in. Red Pill Gary to call in. Mike Banks needs to call in. Everybody needs to call into the show.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's hear from y'all at least once, guys. It sounds like Saturday night would be a good time to do it. So I'm looking forward to it. It sounds great.
Okay, Supreme, you take care.
You too. God bless everyone.
God bless
Talk
you.
soon.
Supreme Cannon there, filling in a bit of time. Guys, it's winding up to 9 o'clock now. I've been live for 2 hours and 35 minutes. Now, guys, 6 p.m. my time will be 9 p.m. in New York. And that would be 9, 10, 11, 12. It'll still be 1 a.m. in the UK. But then it'll be like 12 o'clock in Australia, noon in Australia. So we'll catch all our Australian callers and stuff. I'm going to go in and fix this for you guys, okay? So it's going to be Mike in the Night-a-thon, a 6-hour live show call-ins type of thing. And we're going to do this. We're going to do this, guys. I need you guys to call in and be part of the show. Yeah, David Xavier is commenting there. I know Lord Humongous. I need Mike Banks to call in. Solid Exter, if he could. Yeah, Solid Exter calls in sometimes. I need him to call in too. We need, who's this? Maybe Nat Pacheco to call in. Bob Often. And who else? Just people here in the comments, man. I want everyone to be part of Mike in the Night this Saturday. We're going to have a big show. I really want everyone to be there. So, guys, don't forget to join the show and help the transmission. If you want to support me on Patreon, I'm going to give you my Patreon right now. My Patreon has been growing, and it's really nice because a lot of people don't want to do anything via YouTube. So if you want to hit me up on Patreon for $1 a month, that really helps me out. It helps pay the internet and all that other crap. You could also send me a tip on PayPal. So if you want to send me $3 on PayPal, go ahead. Or $2 on PayPal, go ahead, guys. I appreciate it. Guys, if you want to send me in show tips, go ahead and send me in show tips here to my Facebook. And if you guys want to send me show tips here to my Instagram, go ahead and send me show tips here to my Instagram. I really appreciate it, guys. All the support here. And I'm going to go in and fix this in a few minutes. I'm going to fix this Mike in the Night Kiss of Death. I'm going to make it a Mike in the Night-a-thon. And like I said, I don't mind going for 6 hours, but I need to break it up in a way where I could go for half an hour, get something to eat, and all that stuff. Craig Cook said he's going to get Skype. Get Skype. It's free. Get it on your phone. Just add me. Mike Martins 1980. And we got saying... was the NDP announcement discussed here tonight? NDP announcement. NDP announcement. Let's find out. NDP latest news. Okay, this is not. Oh. Oh, okay. So here's an update. So I covered it earlier about in the show already this morning. It's right here how Trudeau was basically going to be sending out money to help people. Now there's a coronavirus update. Canadians won't get Trudeau's $52 billion relief pay until mid-April. So Canada announces $2,000 a month for affected workers, mandatory isolation travelers. Ontario unveils. So it's until the end of April. Mid-April. So no one's going to get nothing. So if people are on the hook for food, good luck. And if you're a landlord hoping to get rent, people are going to be buying food with that money because people have barely enough to live. Yeah. So guys, Mike in the Night this Saturday. I'm hoping everyone could join us this Saturday. So here it is. Go here. Here, let me see if I could go here. Hold on. Yeah. Go down here and set reminder. Wait up. Join. Yeah, set reminder right here, guys. I'm going to give you guys a link to the Mike in the Night right now. Go to this link right now. Go there right now. Click on that. And it's going to take you. It should take you to this page here. And if it takes you to this page, please go and sign up and prepare yourselves for the Mike in the Night-a-thon next Saturday. I'm hoping to do a big Mike in the Night-a-thon. See, Mike Banks has a good point. Homeless people might have a better built-up immune system. You never know. So Raj in the comments saying, I'm driving past East Hastings. It's like a party on the streets. People could care less about the virus. We need Raj on the show too to come in and give us a little bit of an update on what's happening in his. And then we got Lord Humongous. So guys, come on. Don't forget, set a reminder for Mike in the Night on Saturday night. We're going to do a Mike in the Night-a-thon for you guys. I'm going to be promoting it on every video I make now going forward. Mike in the Night, set your reminder here. Thank you so much. Guys, thank you so much.
I love China. Yes, and yes.
I fully understand.
No, but we don't know. Mexico. I love China. I love China. I love China.
Thanks for watching, guys. It's 9 p.m. here where I'm at, and I'm going to go spend some time with the family and put the kids to bed. And Low Roller Scratcher says, you need to make an India lockdown video. We'll do one Saturday night. Mike in the Night. We're going to go full blown. We're going to go for like 6 hours straight. See what happens to my bandwidth. Woo! Thanks for watching, guys. Spread the word. Set your reminders, and we'll talk soon. Thanks for